There you go. There we go. Practicing good sound quality and soundmanship. Yeah, that's what I like to see. That's what I like to see on the show. All right. Look at that. You could have just told him you gotta go. You could have just told him you had something to do.
No, I mean, they don't know that. I was just handling something real quick before I thought we was still in. Anyway, go ahead, because I'm ready to go anyway.
This is pre-show. This is what it is.
I know, that's why I was like, I could, like, this is what I was. I'll put it down when we're ready to, but, somebody, 8th grade teacher up in this bitch. So, do what you got to do.
No, that you guys to do shit like
Fuck
that.
Fuck you, Mr. Finkel. You can't control my phone.
Deshaun, I'm not going to tell you again,
you
Deshaun.
Literally made me a Deshaun. It had to be a young black boy. It had to be a Deshaun, huh?
Yes.
We're not going to talk about that. We're gonna move on ahead. We're gonna skip the
Why do you want
internalized
to be a
racism
little
in your
white
head.
boy? Why do you want to be a little?
It wasn't
white boy?
about me wanting to be a little white boy. It was about you explaining the image of black boys not being the ones who are always troublemakers in school, which you failed at. So we're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into that right now because I'm not going to do the internalized thing. We're just going to move on. It's okay. It's okay. Listen, it's internalized in me too.
Yo.
They didn't let us congregate together because we was too loud all of a sudden. But you wanted it to be Deshaun. That was you. You made that conscious decision. It couldn't have been Blake, who also be on his phone about, the same amount of time if we want to really compare numbers. But, you wanted Deshaun. So that's, that was your decision. And we'll move on from that.
Yo, tell me why I felt a little nostalgic like last week. And
with what?
No, I watched this TikTok of this crackhead. He made this like...
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not lying.
Made you nostalgic.
This happened.
This made you nostalgic.
Wait, I would
for
tell
Florida?
you why.
Okay.
No, wait, I would for Florida.
Yeah, that one was a low blow for both of us. I just had to fit it in.
No, it's the TikTok of the guy. He's like in the bathroom and he's like pen tapping and singing. He's like, I've
not seen that.
And he's like, I don't even know. I guess I'll share it sometime. But like,
yeah, I haven't seen that at all.
No, it's so good. Like he made like a whole beat. It was fire, right?
Oh, really?
No, his shit was fire. Like I was like, get your life together, man. Like,
bro, you could be somebody.
Be somebody.
Yo, drop the drugs.
I thought that. I was like, yo, this dude could be somebody.
Just stop the drugs. Quit the drugs and just go commit.
Let him go. He made a
please crack cocaine. Please,
made a fucking 10-second banger, like in the fucking like bathroom from I don't even know where, and his little buddy was just standing there like just.
Dude, was it a Waffle House bathroom? It would be so much better if it was a Waffle House bathroom.
It was such a nice bathroom. I don't know what he was doing in there. Anyways,
you 2 for 2 right now, bro.
I know. Right I'm sorry. I'm being real elitist today. Anyways, no. Like the pen tapping and everything and the song creation just made me real nostalgic for like bounce that ass Miss Cunningham. You remember that song? Okay.
Bounce that ass Miss Cunningham?
You don't know what Bounce That Ass Miss Cunningham is?
I don't think I remember.
Oh my God. So this is like for people of my time and yours.
I'm aware.
Who remember like the early 2000s banger. That this is before TikTok, this is before Vine, this is for YouTube Shorts, Reels, all that bullshit. It's before all of that, right? Bounce That Ass Miss Cunningham was this little fire beat in song that these like 14, 15-year-olds made in the back of a classroom, right? And it was like, bounce that ass, bounce that ass. Bounce that ass, bounce that ass, and then so like they just like sang that for like 10 minutes straight, and then they was like then they started like getting into it. Dude had like his own like freestyle with it, right? And so this is where it gets fucked up, right? So these dudes been going on for like they made a whole track basically. They sang the song for like two minutes, right? And then that's when the teacher wants to intervene at the end.
Wait, so the teacher literally was just like, all right.
It was a rowdy classroom, but like they was like singing it like for a long time, and like people was like jiving to it, right? Then the teacher got the nerve to like stop the music or whatever, be a square. And so like she comes to the back and she's like, all right, guys, you guys need to stop. And then at the end of the video, they go, bounce that ass, Miss Cunningham, bounce that ass.
Did she have a lot of ass? It'd be so much funnier if she did. Like, it'd be
really?
so much
That's
funnier.
what your question is?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Have a lot of ass?
Did she have a lot of ass? Hey, Miss Cunningham sound like she got a lot. Cunningham? Yeah. Cunningham ain't never sound like it's a woman with a lot of ass to you? That don't sound like a last name?
Yeah, like that was the thing. Like it was like it was just a perfect moment in like internet history. Like it's just like bounce that
ass,
like
Miss Cunningham.
Everybody who listens to this show needs to either look that up or they just know. Like they just know what bounce that ass Miss Cunningham is. Cause like I remember watching that in high school and like being like, yo, this song is good, right? And then like at the same time, I'm like, this is fucked up. And at the end, like, but it was funny. I mean, just making fun of kids and misogyny. If you're just tuning in,
I'm looking it up right now.
You looking up bounce that ass Miss Cunningham?
Hey, listen, why don't you let me just live my life?
Damn, this is where we're at.
Oh, it's not playing. The song's not playing.
Well, duh, because that's not, you can't.
Yeah, they look super belligerent. Well, not belligerent. Yeah. I mean, they look super troublemaking.
Yes.
They mean like super. These was the troublemakers. I mean, one dude got a chain on. They all got chains on. Oh God, y'all in high school, bro. What y'all mean? You got the chains on, man. Got the twists. Oh God, I can't hear it, but I can feel it.
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh jeez.
He said,
that poor teacher.
Geez.
That poor teacher. I'll look that up and listen to it later. That poor teacher.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't know what to do with them. Like they started singing, and she was like, okay, all right, all your years at Penn State prepared you for this. Just relax, take a deep breath. Okay, they've been singing for a minute now. You have to say something. Come on, Patricia, you have to say something. Yeah, I made her Patricia. Sue me. All right,
Patricia
maybe
Cunningham?
She was a black teacher. Yeah, Patricia Cunningham.
No, it was a white teacher.
So it makes sense. Patricia Cunningham.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not proud of that story, by the way, but it is something that happened in my life and I wanted to share. If you're just tuning in, I'm your host, Logan, and this is the Milk and Toast Podcast. I'm here with my best friend, Mitch. Say hi to the people, Mitch.
Hello. How you doing?
All right.
Hello, hallelujah.
Don't do that. You don't need to do the whole Medea. We.
Oh, is that right? Are you saying I don't need to do the whole Medea because you got a problem with Jesus all of a sudden?
Okay, it just went worse. Like, that's not a good impression.
You got a problem with Jesus?
Why'd you get so high pitched?
Oh, is that it?
What? Why is it getting more high pitched?
Hallelujah, is that the problem? We can't talk about Jesus in this bitch.
You weren't even talking about Jesus. You just saying hello.
I said hello.
What that got to do with Jesus?
Hallelujah.
I'm not doing that. Anyways, we have a horrible show for you today. I'm not gonna lie. The show is garbage and it's trash. Don't look at me like that, Mitch. I get to have fun every once in a while.
Oh,
mm-hmm.
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while. I can't be serious all the time.
Serious is what you've been.
For 65 episodes, this is 66. So that's that's me. If you like the show, share the show. Share it with your friends, your enemies, whatever. If you find us on YouTube, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Tell us what you agree with, what you don't agree with, what you like, what you don't like. Or just write first. Like, like that's a thing. Like, just write first in the comments. Like, see if you can be first right in the comment. I don't know. Whatever you want to do. Whatever tickles your fancy. Mitch, let's jump right into it today. You wanted to talk about how the music industry denigrates the black image. How they denigrating black people. Yes.
Well, I specifically said how it helps denigrate the image. I don't want to put the entire responsibility on the music industry because people take shit in. Just in terms of how it helps. we have to talk about the progression of hip hop for me in one sense, because you got the 60s where hip hop's like fun loving, underground, people in their communities uplifting themselves, using, music, like old school soul tracks or, something like that to make hip hop, basically to break off, old tracks like some R&B, some jazz, stuff like that, finding records to mix up. And that was really like innovative.
Mm-hmm.
That was so creative for that time because you were able to create completely new music out of music, specifically historic black music that had come before. And you made this awesome sound. You got the B-boys to rock, as we used to say. And it was really cool. Speed things up. We get into like 70s, 80s. We're seeing a lot of uplifting messages happening within that same hip hop community. Now it's like, all right, we're a little bit more conscious. We want to fight the power and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Run DMC and all that. Then we get into the 90s and we get gangster rap. Now, don't get me wrong. I like me some gangster rap, here and there and all that. You know what I'm saying? I like to get a little rough sometimes. Be like, yo, I'm gangster with it. You know what I'm saying? Don't fuck with me, no matter who you be, because I'll fuck you up on the count of three.
Do you really feel like you gangster?
Well, I actually go out of my way to calm down my internal gangster, so I don't go to prison.
That's what it is?
It's literally what it is, unfortunately.
You've been like hiding your gangster from us all?
Oh yeah, bro. That's how I was raised.
What's the most gangster thing you would do?
The most gangster thing I would do?
How far would you take it?
How far would I take it?
Yeah.
Well, I would rally the rest of my hood niggas and gangsters, and we would riot and run up on the White House.
That's not gangster.
Why is that not gangster?
Did you see them people do that?
I meant before all that. I said, did you see them people do that? But we do it for the community, and then we just
I guess
take everything inside it, sell it, flip it.
So you know what I'm
saying? They wouldn't know who it was.
You want to be the good gangster. You want to be the Robin Hood gangster.
That's in truth what the original gangsters were. Keep in mind, most black gangs specifically. Well, when we talk about black gangs, we technically start with the Black Panthers. And then after that, everything goes a little sideways.
No, I know. Like the Bloods and Crips, they were like community organizers at first. Yeah, I understand.
And that's what original gangster was. Mm-hmm. Not the whole Al Capone, I'm robbing for mine or feeding my family, however you did it.
Because everybody gangsters too. Those are gangsters too.
Yeah, but the thing is, we think about gangsters in a negative capacity because they don't conform to what the agreed upon government is doing. Specifically when that agreed upon government isn't being too good for them. Italians ain't always have it good, remember? That's why we had them gangsters. Black people didn't have it good either. That's why we got them gangsters. Now, but that being said, gangster rap, I want to say, is when we start to see the music industry go, I can make some money off this. Oh, and they're talking about blacks killing each other. Mm-hmm. This is great. Hey, keep selling that. And then what you notice a consistent theme being in terms of the trend is with black people, with the image that the music industry is most willing to sell to our community and just like the global community in general is, black people, they do that gangster stuff. They kill each other. They sell drugs to each other. You know what I mean? They're not smart. They're just about getting the money and making bad investments and shit, gold chains and all that. How often did you see KRS-One promoted back in the day? Now, mind you, KRS-One's a legend. He didn't need it, per se. And he was fully in his community, genesis of hip hop. Like, he didn't need the fucking industry. But now we're in a state where artists, especially young black artists, have to work within the industry or have an amazing work ethic independently. Like unseen work ethics that are almost impossible to maintain because life's got you down so much. But what you'll notice a common trend, black men, black women, is let's show the world I don't want to say the most ignorant image because those people are necessarily ignorant per se, but let's show them the image that would make them be the most misunderstood is what I'll say. Because after all, people listening to the music ain't gonna look into anything more than, you know, the lyrics itself, how it makes them feel, how it sounds. So what we end up with as we progress to the through 2000s, 2010, is rather than being, because for me,
well, who do you listen to?
I mean, you know, some Kendrick, favorite rappers Lupe Fiasco, J. Cole, you know, some things like that. I still listen to a lot of people that like I grew up with, so I'll listen to some Tupac now and then, listen to some Pusha T. I wasn't really a fan of like the fucking mumble rap. Like, I just started getting used to listening to Uzi Vert. Mind you, what people don't know about Uzi Vert is Uzi Vert had bars before he joined the industry, which is another thing about the industry. You know, really intricate lyricism, not as preferred, which is because that's what sells, but they made it so that's what would sell.
Yeah, there's a difference between what's marketable, what's popular, and like what like an artist can do like as their own like passion project.
So
like, you know
actually,
what I mean?
I would like to speak on what you just said because there is a difference between what's marketable and what's popular. But back in the day for hip hop, what was popular was whatever the fuck we said was popular. That's lost now. If you haven't realized that, that's actually lost now.
What do you mean? Why do you think that's lost? What do you mean by
why
that's
do I think that's lost?
Yeah.
Because for the same reason I think that black people don't run most sports leagues where they're the majority. Like the fact that white people are NBA owners, mind boggles me.
Why?
For that same
Why does
reason.
that mind boggle you?
Because we're the ones who came up into. So sure, they may have started those leagues and then tried to separate us out, and then we're the ones who came into those leagues and dominated them, and we're only allowed to be given the position of just play ball, shut your mouth, which is backwards to me.
Yeah, because they own that shit.
Yeah, and also because they're racist, but let's not get into that one too much.
Yes, because you have racists that own that shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm saying.
Exactly,
So like,
which is my point.
Why would that be mind-boggling that you would not be invited into the racist ownership club?
Not mind-boggling, but just like unfair, obviously, but also just crazy that we would continue to work with those people. But money talks.
I want to stop for a second. Isn't it? Is it unfair?
To me, yeah.
Why?
Well, the way I work is if someone's coming in to your whatever, your community or your job place, your place of business or your school, and they're doing amazing things, you're supposed to take care of those people, give them the opportunity to grow, no matter how far that growth takes them, which is unrealistic. I know, but that's how I think.
But here's my comment on that, is that I don't watch football anymore. A lot of the reason I don't watch football anymore is because of like the racist politics that are involved with football. You know what I mean? Like I didn't like the whole Colin Kaepernick situation, even though like I think in some way that like Colin Kaepernick is a little passe nowadays, and like I feel that like
it's not as mainstream anymore. But
no, it's not just that he's not mainstream. I feel like he is lived beyond his message. Like his message was that message, but then like he wanted to, I guess like it felt like to me at one point that if he wanted to survive, like make his livelihood about that and not just, you know, like find a job or some shit. You know what I mean? Like he wanted activism to be his new job, which can be fine, but it didn't, but it just, you know what I mean? Like it felt like too, like it didn't feel as real as in the beginning when he was doing it.
Because he made the effort to get back into the league. He went to the practices.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean, like there was a point where like they made a Netflix movie about him having like, you know, like
I remember.
It was. You ever see the preview for that shit?
Progression. I haven't seen. I didn't need to see it because I already thought the way he was thinking.
It felt like one of those things where you live long enough to. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
but I disagree.
Either you die the hero, you live long enough to see you become a villain.
I thought
like,
the Netflix documentary he put out, because the thoughts that was going into that, I actually have agreed with since before. It's why I couldn't stay focused as an athlete.
I feel like it was such a milquetoast thing. I did not watch that thing. Like I saw the preview, and the preview had him like sitting in the car, and they was like the cop was gonna shoot him, but it was like so like overly dramatized that it looked like a fucking like a Christian movie or something, like God's Not Dead or some bullshit. Like it felt like that. Like I was just like, this is not good content.
Well, neither of us saw it, so I guess that's just our opinion for right now. Who the fuck is this
for at this point? You know what I mean? So that's what I meant. You know, like that. Like he's beyond the point. Anyways, what I mean is like, I don't have a problem with pointing out the racism in a structure, right? In a system, right? Like, especially like within our own society and our government and stuff, like shit that like affects our like community. I feel like what we forget a lot of the time with certain institutions is that those are businesses, right? And we ourselves are like going to work for those businesses. You know what I mean? Like the NFL is basically a club. You know what I mean? Like
Well, I get that.
It's a club of billionaires that got together and they wanted all to make money off of a sport, right? Just like FIFA or whatever else. So it's like a cabal. You know what I mean? So they decided that these good old boys are going to run a business together. It's like, this is what I mean. It's like me going to work for Duck Dynasty and wondering why there's Trump shit everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense to me to wonder why something is like fucked up in a way when we know who's running it, and then saying that like, I want to be a part of this. Like, it's one thing to say you want to like play football for the rest of your life, but it's another to like look at like the people who own the fucking football and be like, I want to play for that person, and then wonder why they don't like you when they never liked you in the first place.
Okay, but what's the main overarching point? Was that it that you were trying to make there? Like
yeah,
you know,
like how is that
like,
unfair that we go work for racists when we knew they was racist? You know what I mean? Like I've worked for people who don't like black people before. You know what I mean? Like just managers or bosses or whatever, right?
Yes.
And I made peace with the fact that I needed bread at the time and I didn't have no other choice. But like the thing I'm not going to do is like try to change my racist boss's mind when he like owns the shit.
Maybe that's what we disagree on, because I think if you have the opportunity and the power, you absolutely should, as we've been making work towards, as is the entire point of this in terms of what black people are searching for in terms of the American dream. We don't want to be on the sidelines. We don't want the secondary position. We want primary position. We want to be in those positions that allow us to better our people, which is what I mean. In terms of getting back to the music industry, because sports is a different conversation we could have.
Because the music, that I think that's why I brought that up, because when we got to football and stuff, it seemed like the same kind of thing where it's like expecting people who don't care about you to care about you.
Well,
unless you're trying to remove those people from that position. You know what I mean? It
doesn't even have to be necessarily about removal, because it is similar in that aspect, but it's the fact of, listen, you need me. And it's the same reason America rebelled against the British. Listen, you're over here on these colonies. You say you own us. Why aren't we having more say in what's happening in this place? And that's the same thing as the music industry. Especially hip hop, which has become the new mainstream pop, but nobody even talks about that. Because pop isn't real. Pop is not a real genre. Pop doesn't exist.
Exactly, yeah.
Pop music now is literally just hip hop.
Right. No, that's true. Us. No, you're right.
Oh, no, that I don't have to argue about. That I know.
But I know. I'm not arguing with you. I'm telling you you're right. I'm giving you a flowers.
I'm not coming at you. I'm just saying that. Like, the fuck? It's not all about you.
I think it's just the energy right now.
I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I wasn't even coming at you. I'm just saying, like, that is the point. Like, our community did that, yet we are reaping not anywhere near as much of the benefit in terms of our artists. You don't get nearly as much as they probably should. Except for like fucking Jay-Z now, who had to go through his entire struggle to get to where he is. And if we're talking about our communities, fact of the matter is hip hop, you know, we don't acknowledge it a lot. I'm not saying black people are any better than any other people at engaging with their community and allowing certain industries to benefit the community. But nonetheless, I feel like hip hop back in the day, it felt good. It helped us feel better. Whereas now, the disconnect is gone. We've become like the white man in America who is disconnected from their cultural self. Disconnected from the people around them, not as caring. That's also a different conversation. Back to the music industry,
I thought that was the conversation, though.
No, not technically.
Because
it's actually still a lot simpler.
I don't know if I could just let you just say that point like that and not say anything.
Hey, man, it's a conversation, you know what I mean? So do what you will. But I'm telling you, that wasn't exactly what I was trying to focus on, because I really am trying to focus on the image thing. But if you want to speak on it, go ahead.
Because I think it all kind of goes into it, because...
That is true. I just was like, we could talk about it later. But
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that, like you said just now, hip hop is the new pop, right?
It is.
But one of the reasons hip hop is the new pop is because there's so many different types of hip hop now too. Like we have, like it is probably the most popular genre in the world right now,
Yeah.
and at the same time, like everybody, what I say when I say that is that like everybody pulls from hip hop. Country
No, it
music
is
pulls
the
from hip
most
hop. Like
popular
like
genre right now.
literally everything comes from hip hop right now, right? And so like there's so many different types of hip hop. Like you can listen to Tupac and J. Cole, but then you can also listen to Future, but then you can
Mm-hmm.
also listen to Lil Uzi Vert. Like these are all
Mm-hmm.
rappers, but they not all the same. You know what I mean?
I
And
know.
even like the difference between Tupac and J. Cole, like even just I could barely put them in the same category. You know what I mean? And so it's like you can have what you want when you want it. It's like there's so many different types of flavors for it. So it's not one thing. So I can't say that like I can't necessarily agree with the fact that like, you know, hip hop is this but it's no longer this anymore, or that it's not even like, or like it's lost its culture, because it is the culture right now, one. And then two,
Ooh, I didn't say that.
well, I'm
You
saying
got
that
to
you said like
misunderstand then.
black people are disconnected from their own culture the way white people are as
Well, they're
well.
becoming, in terms of the music serving the purpose, how it, because nowadays, really, it's more about getting signed, getting your check. It no longer feels, and
That's not
I hate to use the
100%
word
true. That's
wholesome. I hate to use the word
but what I
wholesome.
mean is that's not 100% true, because you have artists who who do their independent thing. You have artists who their shtick is just like saying their truth or being conscious, or like a conscious
Hmm.
rapper or whatever. Like
But
that's their
that isn't
thing.
the
You know what I
image
mean?
that's even us getting. So that's the thing. Even us getting like
Mhm.
Kendrick Lamar, for instance, isn't
Yeah.
because of the music industry. That's because of Dr. Dre and Kendrick Lamar. That's
Yes.
because of
Well,
Black
not
Hippie.
Dr.
That's
Dre. Like fucking
no. I mean, no. He had
no,
a.
it's Top
They
Dog.
have a. I know it's Top Dog, but I'm saying there's a connection between all of them, and
Hmm.
like and how you accelerate a person's career. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's what I mean, and that did happen. Of course, it's Top Dog. Like they put that work in. All of them, Black Hippie, they put that work in. I'm just saying, you have Dr. Dre also co-signing you. Y'all both from Compton. Like this isn't. This
But
is quick
Dr. Dre
math.
also came from that era of like that gangster rap, but like they was like NWA is also conscious gangster rap
Nah,
too.
see,
So
exactly. They're
it's like
conscious gangster rap. It's a difference.
so he's a continuation. Like Kendrick is a continuation of of a legacy already.
But you see, they're not
Like
really
he just
gangster
like
rap.
it's not who.
Like NWA, to me, funny enough,
How
we
the
call
fuck
them
they not
gangster
gangster
rap.
rap? Are you
No,
serious?
I know. I'm making an argument.
They
We call
coined the
them gangster
term.
rap. I know they did, but we call them gangster rap. But all they was really talking about was their life. Whereas nowadays, people took what they were doing and are like, "Yeah, I bang on this block and all this yada yada yada," because they were trying to be like them, but not as good as them. You know what I mean? Truth be
But
told,
that's still a
NWA was some of the most
but that's
conscious rap
still
ever.
but that's still they're still derivative of that. Those people now today are still derivative of that, is the point. It's like you don't get to have a say in what your great grandchildren do, you know, but they are still yours. That's what I mean. Like
Still your great
that is still,
grandchildren.
yeah, that is still the lineage of that. Like not all the kids look the same as you. Like kids aren't your clones. So like
You're true, but so then we can talk about the effects on said grandchildren. And so
yeah.
if we're talking about that effect, we can use the music industry as who's the effect and what they saw in between
Hmm.
NWA and some of the bullshit that they focus on now. Trinidad James. So he
Okay.
came out with that Go Watch, and that song bumps. I'm not gonna lie, it's catchy, it's fun, it's uplifting in one sense. But then Trinidad James tried to put out more conscious music, like talk about different things in terms of how he feels, and his label dropped him.
Okay.
That's the shit I'm talking about. That's what happens in the music industry, which is already disgusting in and of itself. But he literally was trying to focus on, I want to send uplifting messages, but the music industry, which isn't ran majoritarily by hip hop faithful and like black execs, I mean, getting better obviously, was like, nah, yeah, we're not sure about that one. Partially, in one part because hey Trinidad, I'm sorry, we don't think this is gonna sell, and in the other part because, to be honest with you, to me, I don't want to get like super conspiratorial, but there are different ways of control where you can have an effect on the black community. People know what they're doing. Why would we promote this type of music if this one, the kids relate to this one more, and all we got to do is say, yeah, it just sells more. Why wouldn't we put out different music?
I don't know. I do have.
Well, take your time and think about it. I know you feel a similar way.
Like 2% of me feels that way though. Like it's
Only
like
2?
it's a very small percentage of me that feels that way because I'm also a content creator, right? We make content every week. We've done it for like 60 weeks now. You know what I mean? So like being a content creator and somebody who makes things, like I know that there is something to like I said it today. Like I looked at the list of topics we had. I'm like, how are we gonna spin this into a show? Because there's an entertainment element to things. You know what I mean? Like
everything has to be fun.
I mean, you say that, but like you listen to a Kendrick album, right? And it's still entertaining. You know what I mean? Like yeah, but
like not a single bit of it stopped being his genuine
Kendrick
self.
was sitting there for like a whole hour and just preaching to you, people would probably listen to it. But like if he was just like things suck and this is that and
I would listen to it faithfully.
There's a bit of fatigue that happens after a while with certain things.
I'm
right?
aware of what you're speaking of, yes.
And unless people are prepared for that, you know, unless people think that this is what I'm going to get out of this content, then they may or may not actually fuck with that. So like I understand that marketability is a thing. Like, and then here's the other thing. Back to my earlier point about like the fucking ownership and shit. You went to somebody else to promote your shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Because they own the industry that you're trying to work in.
No, like that's not why. No, that's not why. No. We have to stop doing that because that's not true anymore. And it might have been more true. No, it's not as true today. And because of the fact that I understand back in the day, I understand back in the day, like there was less avenues to really get on with how you were trying to do stuff. But people were still selling tapes through their like trunks and stuff and trying to get their music out and do shit like that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I have to think about like the fact that like you're going to an office, like you're going to a business where yes, you sign your name, and there's a lot of bad contracts and a lot of bad deals that like artists sign like all the time, right? That just gives up ownership of their creative work and stuff. But like, I was just thinking about this the other day. Like the choice becomes then, do you want to become famous or do you want to have art? Like, you know what I mean? And so like, if you want to become famous, there's a business for fame. And that's what the music industry supplies. They supplying you a business of fame. It's just like when I'm like looking at YouTube, like even like content creating, like I'm looking at this whole YouTube, trying to figure out YouTube and Instagram and all this bullshit, right? Because like just like many other like grassroots content creators, you have to figure out that there's an algorithm and there's things that like this platform likes and it doesn't like, and there's a reason why like your content is working or is not working, right? And that's what it is. Like I can't even call it disgusting or not disgusting because that's the way somebody built their shit to be. And if I wanted to be popping on their shit,
I call it disgusting.
No, it's like you want to be popping at Def Jam, you got to do Def Jam shit.
Well, let's not use Def Jam because Def Jam is actually one of the labels that isn't as horrible.
But I'm saying that like what it takes to be successful in a place. Like if I want to be successful at Starbucks, I can't be doing McDonald's shit.
All right, but what I'm saying is, yes, I do. But what I'm saying, there is a part of the system that is purposely built a certain way, and I can't look at it and deny the part that goes like it's a lot easier for us to sell poor images of the black men and women than it is for us to sell, you know, better images, and we're not doing anything. We're not even trying to do that because we don't actually care enough to. To me, being the major problem. Like, that's one of the bigger issues for me. If you don't care, you don't care. What else? I'm not trying to put this out on anyone else. No, I'm not saying I don't
care, but
that still, once again, wasn't directed at you. That's me speaking to audience.
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, it's fine. I'm just saying, like, it's purposely done. You see this. Like, you're a $1 billion industry. You have all the power. Like, sure, maybe people won't buy what they sell, but you're at the point now where no, you have the promotional tools to literally sell anything. You could change the mindset like that. You choose not to.
Because you became a $1 billion industry doing that.
No, you became a billion-dollar industry because you had the money to promote.
Where did the
Honestly,
money
music
come
is
from?
just promote.
Where did the money come from?
I mean, yeah, it came from the people, Logan, but if you decide I want to promote this instead, people will adapt.
It came from the people. And then how did those people give them that money? That's what I'm trying to say.
But that's not how promotion works, and especially not how music works. And I learned that the hard way, having to make music be in the industry. Nobody actually listens to your song like on a regular basis. What you do is you put the song in front of them multiple times, and eventually, psychologically, it catches in their ear. That's all that is. This is what I'm saying. You could change that at the drop of a dime. Because, for instance, we see it work with Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole.
Like they make the marketability. Is that what you're trying to say?
That's not even like a subjective opinion. That's just how the industry works. You put something in front of someone enough times, they're eventually going to gravitate towards it regardless. That's just the human brain. No, well, you're thinking of maybe yourself or other people. I'm not saying it's all people.
That's not what I'm thinking about. What I'm thinking about is there's bad songs. Are we trying to say that there's no bad songs then?
Logan, I mean, to be honest, that even works more to my point because there are bad songs, but you play them enough on the radio, people will listen to them regardless. This is what I'm saying. Like it's kind of, I'm not going to say it's a mathematical formula.
No.
Logan, I'm just saying.
The radio is different.
It isn't just radio. And it is not to say that the song's going to last. It's not to say it's going to be classic forever. But nonetheless, in that moment, for however long, whether it's 15 minutes of fame, whether it's like 2 to 3 years, all the industry has to do is, hey, here's a promotional team. Here's $1 million. Just make sure you put it in front of people's faces. Have them doing a whole bunch of shows.
That's not true.
It's disgusting, to be honest.
That's not true.
Logan, if you don't agree, okay. Well, of course, it's not all
because
it is.
People got to bang with it. It's like at the end of the day, you still got to like fuck with it.
Logan, how much music have we heard on the radio that we didn't bang with? Because there's a market for everybody. Yes.
Yeah.
There's a market for everybody. Yes, I absolutely agree with that. But how much music would we say, so almost to an objective level, like, wow, I can't believe they're promoting this. But it doesn't matter what we think because they're able to get the song playing over and over again. How many songs can you think of like that? And I mean, you don't have to throw out a number, but think about it.
No.
Yeah, I know.
You're right.
Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right about that.
I'm not, this isn't even like, so this is literally not the subjective part.
But that's what I'm saying. There's a difference between having a song. And I feel like I take your point, but I think your argument is wrong given the day and time that we live in. Because we live in a time, what I'm thinking is we live in a time where we have more than enough content to go around. You know what I mean? And not all of it comes through the filter of like a label. You know what I mean? So
yes.
There's so much that creators can do and do as well. Like some of our biggest rappers right now do not come from labels, but they come from SoundCloud. You know what I mean? So there's a point where, yes, you're right. There is an industry that, like, when they invest into a product, they promote their product. Like, that's what that is. Like, I own Frosted Flakes. I'm going to show you 1,000 Tony the Tiger commercials in, like, 40 minutes because I want you to buy fucking Frosted Flakes. That's what you have to do to market a song because you've made the investment into something and someone, right? But at the end of the day, how many, like, you're correct. How many times has a song played 1,000 times on the radio and it's just like a terrible song and nobody fucks with it and it's just playing for like months and months and months, right? But then how long does that person actually last, like career longevity wise? Like when we look at those people that make that type of content, how long do they last? Because there becomes a point where you're right. They paid for the song to be on the radio. They made that investment, and that investment is them like paying that money out. But they got to see a return.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter because they need to see a return on that investment.
No, I mean it doesn't. Like, it doesn't matter whether
one point or another.
It doesn't matter whether the career lasts or not. The effect that it's had is already done. This is what I mean.
You're talking about the propaganda. I understand.
Yeah, I'm not here.
What I'm trying to tell you is that, like, even taking your point, is that people fuck with the propaganda. Is that like
this is what I'm saying? I agree with that. I agree with that, and I know this, but I'm saying that is the problem. That is the problem. But it's not hard to get people to fuck with something. This is what I mean. And so the industry has the power.
I don't believe that. I think that's wrong.
I disagree.
Because
you
just said how many times do they play shit on the radio that we don't like? We don't like it. We don't
But we're
fuck
still
with it.
listening to it.
No,
and it's still
we
having
don't
an
listen.
effect on
We
the
don't
ethos
really.
of our
No,
culture.
we don't really listen to it like
no,
that.
me and you don't really listen to it.
No,
Which
I think
is
like a
fine.
lot of people, and then sometimes I think sometimes we overestimate how much people like ignorant bullshit. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the time, people aren't like we've said this before. People aren't trying to be like super woke and conscious all the time. You know what I mean? So it's like because it's fucking tiring. It is. It's a lot
not
of
being
work.
super
It's a
woke and
lot.
conscious.
No, I'm saying it's a lot of work and it's a lot of like effort to put your mind in that space all the time. So what I'm saying is a lot of low end content gets released, not just for black people, but for white people as well, and like
well,
other
in general,
races.
yes, but we're
right?
here speaking on our black image.
There's a lot of low hanging fruit when it comes to content. I take your point that like, you know, like if you watch Thank You for Sorry for Bothering You, right? And he just sings a song and the song is just nigga shit, nigga shit, nigga shit, you know, and then that's what the crowd is like singing back to him, right? I mean, I take the message in it, right? Because sometimes it feels like that's what you got to do to get on, and but like if you watch that scene again, like he's singing to a crowd of white people, right?
That's how the worst part.
It's not the worst part because the fucking thing is you're in a space where he benefits from that only because like he has centered his livelihood around pleasing white people. Like that's the game.
I know what the message of the film was.
So I have a hard time being like, I don't. It's just for me. Okay, this is what my issue is with the topic, is that for me, I take your point that yes, the music industry promotes a certain type of music, but like the music industry promotes a certain type of music. This is just like what I said last week about porn. It promotes it for white people. It doesn't promote it for black people. Like hip hop is popular because of white people. Like the way that is popular. You know what I mean?
At this point, sure.
We make the culture and we control the culture, right, of hip hop. But like the shit that gets on, like I remember back in the day, I'm like, why does somebody like this type? Like for me, a good litmus test back in the day was like listening to like white people be like, oh, I love rap, I love hip hop, I love this, I love that, and then like they want to talk about like the most ignorant rapper, and then they're like, oh, I love him, I love this, right? But then when I introduce something conscious, they're like, I don't really fuck with that. Because like all that black liberation bullshit and stuff that you got going on over there, I don't really need that in my life. And there's a reason for that. You know what I mean? You living your white privileged life, you living your life the way you want to live it. And you ain't got shit to do with all this black people business. You just want to hear this nigga shit right now, right? So I get that. That's who the fucking when they say that it don't have no market for your song, that's who they talking about. That's not the market. Because that's the market. So like I understand you saying that like they're promoting a bad image, but the bad image is the bad image is the product. You know what I mean? Like that I don't even know how to say what I'm trying to say because
you don't have to.
You know what I mean?
But that was my point. The bad image is the product. That is the problem. That is what the music industry does. This was my topic.
It is. My topic was that I take image with the framing of like that you could even have a bad image.
You said I take image. Did you mean I take issue?
Yeah, I take issue. I take issue with shut the fuck up. I cannot be perfect all the time. Thank you very much.
I'm just making sure.
See, this is why people listen to ignorant shit because like it's hard to be working mentally like 100% of the time. All right.
Hey. All right. Hey, remove yourself right now. Okay.
I just take a step back.
Just take a step back.
I refuse to remove myself from something that involves me.
But no, I'm not even saying I don't understand the way it works. I obviously understand the way it works. I'm just saying we can't keep pretending because we really don't care anymore. We can't keep pretending this isn't a serious issue. This is our image. Is it a serious issue? I'm sorry. I think in a very global way. Yeah. No, I'll explain. I think in a very, very global way. And that's why I take serious issue with it. I am considerably tired of there being any sort of negative image about anyone, let alone the people that I come from. globally.
Okay.
Bro, I'm not trying to walk into Europe and every nigga want to hear me spit fucking nigga bars every fucking time or expects me to fucking pull up with a bottle of Hennessy. Mind you, I love pulling up with a bottle of Hennessy, but you don't get to expect me to pull up with a bottle of Hennessy. Shit, maybe bring your own so we could get along better. Oh, all right. Oh, you got the Henny? You fuck with that? It's genuine? Or you just think it's cool because, you know, you got sold an image. You're like, yeah, this is what black people like. This is my serious issue.
Mm-hmm.
We can't continue to be a society here at America, but also, you know, abroad and have our image continually be that of, and mind you, keep in mind, that the Atlantic slave trade, what the Atlantic slave trade has done to the black image globally has made, I mean, a lot of people are smarter abroad and they have different history. They're taught differently, thank God. But nonetheless, due to the American image we have, it's like, oh, black skin, specifically dark black skin is like, because, you know, everybody in truth loves light skin. Like they love the idea of mixed of when you, yeah. You're right. Let me not get into that. But nonetheless, like the image specifically for, you know, black, dark skinned men and women is that, you know, of ignorance, of belligerence. And it's like, are you serious? We only birthed the cultures y'all all fucking have in your lives. It all stems from Africa, sub-Saharan Africa in the South. Those were dark-skinned black people creating the livelihood for the rest of the world. Sure, you branched out and discovered new parts of yourself. That's great. But it's just, to me, it's just really upsetting. Like, you know, subjectively, it gets me upset because I'm like, oh my God, how long are we going to continue to allow this to be who we are? Mind you, it affects us too, who we think we are, who the rest of the world thinks we are, how we're able to navigate in other areas where we feel comfortable.
This is where I've been trying to get you to the conversation, right? Because like, I'm glad we got here, is what I'm trying to say. Because I understand that. And I'm glad you said that like that. Because I believe that in that way, yes, you are correct. That there is like, how do I say this? Yes, in that way you're correct. That there is a global image of blackness and black people, right? And like to have that continually set as like one way where like somebody just expects like, oh, this is what you're going to do because you're a black person, right? Like I get that, right? However, I like nigga shit sometimes.
Logan, that's not the point.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm gonna get to.
Okay.
I'm gonna get to the point.
I like nigga shit sometimes too. Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Because it's fun. And it's cool. And sometimes I like to be belligerent. And sometimes I like to be, you know, a little niggerish. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, and you've seen me do it. You've been there.
I'm letting you speak.
You've been there and you've seen it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say it like this. That's a part of me. I can't separate that part from me, right? That is not 100% me. That is not my whole existence. You know, I contain multitudes, right? I have the times where I want to be like super debate bro Logan. There's times when I want to be like super romantic Logan. There's times when I want to be low down dirty Logan. You know, like I have different things and aspects to my personality, right? That make me up into a full person. I cannot just deny the grittier parts of me just because I'm afraid it may make me look bad. And wait, just follow me for a second. I understand what you.
No, I'm still listening.
I understand your disagreements, but
I'm actually not disagreeing. That's not what's shaking my head. But carry on. I'll tell you why in a sec.
Okay. What I'm saying is that we have this tendency because we think. Okay, this is what grabs me about the topic. The tendency to shy away from our negative image, quote unquote. I'm doing little finger quotes, guys.
You brought that up before, yeah.
The tendency to shy away from our negative image sometimes is also denigrating in itself, because it's like now I agree with you. Now I expect every nigga to be Nelson Mandela.
I agree with you, but keep going.
So it's like, I cannot be so afraid of like that part that I leave people who actually live like that and who are like that. That is, maybe that's not the majority of my personality, but maybe it's the majority of somebody else's personality, right?
I agree with you.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely agree with you.
So like now I'm leaving him behind. Now I'm leaving her behind because I'm saying that I don't want to promote this image and like this is their image. You know what I mean? Because that is something that goes on. So I don't know necessarily if the image is what I take so much of an issue with, because the black image is that, but it's also other things too. Like you can have Future with 15 baby mamas and Neil deGrasse Tyson talking to you about wormholes. You know what I mean? That's two things that coexist and two things that do not have to be mutually exclusive. And sometimes
Okay.
I think when we get into conversations like this about like, you know, oh, they only promoting the negative aspects of our personality, when we agree with them that this is something that's negative, you know what I mean? Because like if the propaganda is that we're going to promote the negativity in the black community to further
Well,
destroy the
that's
black
not
community.
technically what the propaganda is. The propaganda
I
is,
mean
oh, this is
I mean
what.
no, I mean the purpose of the propaganda. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
Okay.
If the
Yeah.
purpose of the
Carry on.
propaganda is to further negativity, to exacerbate the negativity in our own community, then and we take on to that, then we take the issue with them saying that that's negative, and we internalize it for ourselves and be like, oh yeah, this is negative, and this is where we should separate ourselves from, and we shouldn't be like that no more. And it's like, who said? You know
Okay,
what I
now
mean?
we've branched off where I do disagree with you on some level, but what you were saying beforehand was what I wanted to speak about,
Okay.
because the denigration of the image isn't necessarily the fact that like they're bringing stuff like that up. I too like to do nigga shit sometimes. But that isn't the point. Yeah, I said it like that specifically because it'd be funny.
Yes.
But that isn't the point, because the point is, like you said, I am a multifaceted individual.
Mm-hmm.
That is the image. That I am the multifaceted human being, living human being, not different than you because I'm black. Well, not better or worse than you because I'm black, just different. You know what I
Right.
mean? But the only image that we're really seeing majority of, especially when we talk America, because if we want to talk about better image, we usually go outside
Mm-hmm.
of America. When we're sitting here at home, though, what we're getting a lot of isn't this multifaceted. Sure, you can do niggas. Sure, you could use. Look at Jay-Z, man.
But
Yes,
you
that nigga was
take it, but
selling
that's what I'm
drugs.
saying. You're taking their framing of the issue, is what I'm
No,
trying
this
to
is
say.
this is how I feel.
Okay.
We had that before them. We always have.
Mhm.
We had our people who was, we in the church suit. Mind you, I'm the nigga who doesn't even like suits. But we had people that thought like that. It wasn't white people telling us what the negative image was. I don't need a white person to tell me that, a majority of the black people selling drugs in my community is going to do bad things to the community. We
Right.
never needed them to tell us that.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
never will.
Yes.
That's not what I'm saying. But the thing is, it's like, we're not getting, because you're like, yo, I'm a multifaceted individual. That's what you were saying. I'm not just this dude. I have multiple sides. Of course. I do too. We all do. Even the man who may be less educated than you or I, who only has been raised in one part of a certain hood, who that's his life, that's her life, that's all they know. Even they are multifaceted individuals. But when you get into the nature of like promotion, specifically with music, you don't have the time to necessarily make an elaborate explanation about how multifaceted certain people are. So you think you would take the care to try and figure out how you can find the balance no matter which type of hip hop you're promoting, but that's what I'm not seeing enough. That's the major problem. Because yes, you are right. We are multifaceted. Sure, we like doing nigga shit. Throw me the bottle of Henny. I'll be the first one to shoot it. And then give you a speech about the Black Panthers during that shit. Maybe it'll be a lot more angry, and maybe it'll be more belligerent. That'll be the Henny talking. But I'll do that at the same damn time because how multifaceted I am.
But that's you.
Yes, that is me. But that's also the problem.
No,
Because it's not about
what
me.
you're saying is the problem is that somebody don't want to promote you because of that too.
Well,
And
no,
that's
no, I'm not
that's
talking about me at a
necessarily-
personal level. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that either. I'm not
But
talking
no,
about me at a personal
I mean like
level.
even on a wider scale, is that like who said that that's what they wanted to promote? You know what I mean?
I'm not saying it is. I'm saying that's the problem.
But my issue is that like I think that us making it the problem is the problem. Is what I'm saying.
And that's where I'm saying I do disagree.
I'm saying that us making it the problem actually exacerbates the problem, because it's like because of the fact that you allowing somebody to call your experience or that aspect of your experience negative, or that you're allowed to that you're taking that framing on as like, yo, this person is trying to market me in a negative light, but you take that on as like, well, who said that that was negative? You know what I mean? Like a lot, like this is what I mean. Like,
Okay.
I hate using Donald Trump as an example all the time, but like,
why?
I'm gonna show you why.
No, I mean, why are you using him as an example right now?
I'm gonna show you why, because he's a horrible and vile human being. That's actually the reason why, is because he is a horrible and vile human being, but he likes that shit about himself. So like anytime somebody brings about how horrible and vile he is, he's like, yeah, but that's cool. You know what I mean?
The point you're making, and I'm not liking where we're going, but carry on.
I know.
Carry on. Like, I'm like, okay,
but that's
well,
somebody who's comfortable with themselves. That's somebody who does not let somebody else frame who they are. You know what I mean? Like, we can try as much as we want to paint the person, the individual, how we want to paint them. But at the end of the day, he holds ownership of his own image. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And what I'm saying is that, like, what a lot of, like, when this conversation happens, what I always see is that we usually give up the power in the conversation by taking the framing of the oppressor and then saying that, yes, I too agree that is also negative. And it's like, why? Like, why agree with? But you are agreeing with them.
This is
you're
where I
agreeing
disagree.
that this thing is negative because you're saying that, like,
but not because they say so, Logan.
It is because they say so. Then
no,
because
this once again is what I'm saying.
Who's saying that it's negative?
Like I said before, we never needed them to tell us what. That's why. That's the reason I said I disagree.
I mean like this. No, I mean like this. There are people that I just feel like this conversation just leaves people behind. That I think that's what. Let me just in simplest terms.
Well, can I speak to that real quick? Yeah. Because I understand where you're coming from, but this is the other reason why I disagree, and this is a mindset we just both disagree. On some level, there are certain things that me personally, and I'm only speaking personally right now. I'm not trying to bring it to the full community. This is how y'all should think. But me personally, there are certain things where I'm like, I do think this is negative, not because a white person told me so, because that's how I feel, and that's how other people. Yes. Mind you, we're Haitian, so my father's experience and how he grew up wasn't steeped necessarily in American culture at first. Right. He was telling me shit was off because we don't do that shit. The fuck is wrong with people? Yeah. But mind you, I'm here where I personally am like, nah, there's certain things you should leave behind.
Probably, maybe, but like getting so. I think the intensity behind it, where it's like.
No, I know you don't like that, but we're different. Like that's what I'm saying. We are different like that, and this is an argument in the community. The community is split like this as well.
I know because to me, I feel like we have to protect these people too. Like I can't. You can like okay, like a very good example is this because we're talking about the music industry is like Kendrick's last album, where he puts Kodak Black on the album, and like people have such a great issue with it because. Kodak Black is the worst of us. You know what I mean? So like,
I don't agree with that because I'm from
Kodak Black is definitely most definitely. Actually, no, because like Kodak Black has multiple times denigrated us and been like, nah, he don't want his daughters to have black hair and be dark as him and shit. Like this man is garbage. You know what I mean?
Oh, a lot of people, he was like that.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people took issue with Kodak Black on the album because they was like saying like, you say you have this album, it's super like, introspective and it talks about all these different things and it's like, like how do you want people to like take your message if you have somebody like Kodak Black on there too? And it's like it's a fucking problem we have where everything has to be like Martin Luther King for you to learn something. Like everything has to be like the purest. I see. Yeah. Everything has to be like the purest of the pure for you to get something out of it, and that's fucked up because like we're talking about real shit and human shit. You know what I mean?
And humans aren't exactly the most purest.
No, and they shouldn't be either.
I disagree with that one too.
No, there's no reason to be. It's you're human. Be human. It's fine.
I disagree with that one.
So like. So
I don't think that human definition accounts.
I'm not saying that there's no room for improvement. I'm not saying that you can't like improve your life. But I'm saying that there has to be room for the fact that humans
you fail. Yes, I agree with that, of course, Logan. But I can't sit here and
wait. Hold on. What I'm saying is that not everybody's journey is the same. And so, like putting somebody like Kodak Black on like somebody who's like as like black positive and this and that as Kendrick
Yeah.
says something to me. It says that you don't just care about the people who are going to dress in their Sunday best as Sunday, but you care about us all. You know what I mean? It means that there's a spectrum of people who are going through different struggles and who are going through different lives. And that means that regardless of what you're going through, that we all have to come together. You know what I mean? We all have to go together when it comes to this, because I can't just say that like I want just this part of me exemplified. That's like the Will Smith syndrome. Will Smith has the problem he's having right now because all he wanted to do was to be the positive black person. You know what I mean? You don't have no fucking like other personality. You know what I mean? You don't have no other fucking shit going on with you.
We're talking about a different thing though here, Logan.
No, it's the same thing because we're talking about image and shit. And so it's like, this is why your image is your downfall, because at the same time, the one time you act a little niggerish, now everybody's like, "No, you got to get the fuck out." When you were the one that promoted that shit and you were the one that lived off of that shit, made your money off of that shit, and then you were like, you make one mistake. You just made one mistake. So it's like the bar is always so high, and it's like the person who's holding it don't have dark skin. And the people who like say like, yeah, keep it up there are the people with dark skin, not even realizing that they are just signing their own like little death note about the whole shit. And that's what's so tiring to me about it. And that's why I'm so glad that like something like that could happen like on Kendrick's album, because of the fact that like as soon as I heard it, I was like, people aren't gonna like this, and I was like, I get it. I knew it immediately because Kodak Black is that nigga. Like he's like that. He's like you.
I know.
It's exactly that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like having that like dichotomy on the album is like, it's so important. It's so important because it's like people only want when they want improvement and self-improvement and all this shit, they only want the glitz and the glam of it. They don't want the real like struggle of it. There's like to like when I just said like self-improvement just then, and I'm like, be human. You're like, well, and then I'm like, no, you should like improve. All the shit that happens in between when you're on your road to like enlightenment or improvement or whatever, all that crap that happens in between ain't pretty. True. It's real and it's human and it's dark and it's gritty, and it's not always like that, but it is like that sometimes. So I can't say that like, that like, oh, the black image is being denigrated by so and so, when it's like, no, the black image is not denigrated because so and so promotes a negative image of you. It's because you went along with the framing that was a negative image of you. You went along with the framing that that's something that should have been hidden about you. You know what I mean? You went along with the framing that you shouldn't slap Chris Rock at the Oscars. You went along with that framing. You know what I mean?
Some of that we could, yeah.
Whatever. But you went along with that shit when you should have just went along with the fact that you're a human and you contain multitudes, and that if somebody's promoting that part about you, that says something more about them than it says about you. But what we did was we internalized the fact that no, that says something about us because this is out there about us. It's like we wanted to hold it as like a dirty secret, and we're like, oh no, they can't find out about this. And it's like, why not? That's you. That's you too.
But that's also like, still a part of the denigration. No, I get. No, you get denigrated.
No, you get denigrated not because. This is the whole thing between.
No, wait. I know, Logan. Wait, can I say something?
No press is bad press, because if you treat press as bad press, that's when it becomes bad press. When you treat
some people disagree with certain things, which I get. But all I want to say about that is that is actually still, in fact, also part of the denigration. The fact that we aren't even in our promotion of our image considered
you don't need to be is my
human.
Point. You don't
but
need
if someone's
to be.
Promoting you, they should, because human beings, like we just established, aren't smart enough to go, oh, I can accept this. I can be okay with this.
I mean, like, somebody talking, if I'm talking bad about you, right? Mm-hmm. And you just keep constantly leaning into it, people are going to think that. Like, one of the things I do when somebody talk bad about me, I'll be like, what you listening to him for? Like, that's usually where I take the frame in one way or the other. Because I'm like, yeah, he said that about me, and yeah, I probably did that shit, but what do you listen to him for? Why is it that I don't denigrate that? Like, why is it that I immediately denigrate myself and I'm like, oh well, I get defensive. I'm like, oh well, you know, I didn't really do like this. I didn't really steal the cookie like that, and like I would never take cookies if I took cookies. Like, it's like your hand was in the cookie jar. You like cookies? Shut the fuck up. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't get that. I don't get the framing of like taking somebody else's argument and then like living with that. Like
Well,
that's
Logan,
just me. Maybe
I
don't
know,
know.
I know. This is what I'm saying. Sadly, because I do agree with you on that level, but sadly, that is just you. Well, I mean, and
Not
other
really.
people who, I mean, and other people think the same way. Of course, I'm not saying that is just you, but I mean, on mass though, unfortunately, because I'm a similar way too. I'm not gonna, especially when someone says something about me that I know is just untrue. I don't have to lean. I don't have to care because I'm secure with myself.
Yes. But that's what I'm saying. Why don't
but
we?
You're acting like the majority of people are raised to be secure in
No,
themselves.
I'm not acting that way. I'm acting like the people who are secure with themselves. Like you say, you secure yourselves. Why don't you stand up securely for the rest of us too? Is what I'm saying. That, like if I want to do nigger shit, why don't you stand up for me and not
because
and not
I don't
go
always
along?
agree with your nigga shit.
No, you don't have to. But like that's the thing.
But I'm not gonna necessarily. This is where I said we disagree.
This is what
I'm not gonna stick up for that.
this is what I mean. If you have like if we try to, when we talk about these things, we like talk about black people as if it's like a global family. You know what I mean?
It technically is.
Okay, thank you. No, thank you. I want you here. If that's the case, right? You don't got to agree with everything I do. You know what I mean? I don't ask for that. But the fact that you would leave me and not protect me through that, that's what I take issue with. And that's where we get lost at a lot of the time when we start saying that like, oh, they only promoting the negative aspects of us and all this and that. What happens in that conversation is that like if I am the negative aspect or something, I get left into this space where like, yes, that's negative and you can do whatever you want to him. Well, yes, he's negative, and now you can do whatever you want to him because we don't accept him either. And
I get that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so
I do. I
that's exactly what happened to Will Smith. Meanwhile, I wanted to share this tweet or whatever that I just forgot to share. And I was gonna share it on fucking our Instagram or whatever. But like what happened was Ezra Miller, who's been like the Hawaiian terrorist.
How is he still like fucking not canceled for all the shit that I'm hearing?
Right?
All the shit he's been doing,
he's
bro.
Literally committed like actual crimes. He's kidnapped people and like he's beating people up.
Kidnapped someone?
He kidnapped, yes, a teenager. And he like fucking like he punched like this lady and like because like she disagreed with him in a like darts game. And like it was like he's been like a literal terrorist. And then they're like, oh, we'll just sit down and talk to him and he's still going to be in the Flash movie. Meanwhile, Will Smith slapped somebody at the Oscars and his whole career is in like the balance. You know what I mean? So it's like that. And then what happened to Will Smith was he slapped somebody. Then he becomes the negative black person. And it's like, well, do what you may with him. That's what I'm talking about this conversation. It's that like we get to this point where we're like saying like, oh, this is the negative parts about being black and stuff. And then very slowly, like the wokest of us starts chopping off the limb and just starts chopping us out of the conversation. So it's like, if I want to be like, I've been that person where like, I can be clean cut, but I can also be dirty. And I like being dirty too. So it's like, so if you catch me like that, that means that I'm left into the woods then. I'm left into the wild. What the fuck for?
Hey, man, it depends on how dirty you... And I see where you're coming from.
And I'm not talking about like obvious, like real heinous shit.
No, I get you.
You know what I mean?
I know.
But I mean just like, you know, shit that is like called like, you know, just negative parts of the black community. And it's like, it could be like, then the range of it don't even make sense. It could go from like just how you speak, how you dress, the way you the way you leave your hair. Like there's all these different things is what gets put into that category, and it gets pulled out and put in and pulled out and pull it in whenever we wanted to. And so that's like when it's so arbitrary like that, and then it affects somebody's life so harshly. It's like nobody wants to like fucking like contend with that, and nobody wants to be like, yeah, I know this guy's a fucking menace, but don't fucking touch him. You know what I mean? Like nobody wants to do that. And so
my thing is the difference
why
is
I have
on-
issue with conversations like
I
that.
get you.
You know what I
My
mean?
thing on a take like that is like if that person is a menace, don't fucking touch him. Sure, but it's like, oh, he's a menace. You don't touch him, but I'm going to right now.
Yes,
Is how
but
I
we
feel
don't
about
do
it.
that. We don't.
I
do
know
that.
we don't do that en masse
Yeah.
as much as we should. Well,
And
don't
a
say
lot
we
of-
don't.
Well, I'm
'cause-
saying we don't do that en masse, and then the other thing is on the back end. A lot of the time, we let white people just take them, and so I don't agree with that. I would agree with like us actually handling our own business and things like that. But a lot of the time, what we do is we go and we like co-sign all the negative shit that white people say about like us, and then like just like be like, oh yeah, I also don't agree with what he did, and it's like, what?
well,
Like
sadly,
I don't get that.
We're not. That is also because of the American paradigm.
What?
So, well, I don't mean like paradigm a specific thing. I just mean the fact of being an American. There is a village somewhere in Africa where when someone does something bad, rather than being like, hey, this person is horrible, they grab that person, surround them, and tell them all the good things about themselves in a sense of trying to uplift them. We don't have that no more. Not in the strongest of senses where we would want to have it in a place like this.
Right.
That is the American paradigm. We aren't just a part of each other anymore. There are other effects on us that make us think in different ways that some of us agree and disagree with. We're not in a state where we're always like, yo, it also depends on the situation, of course.
Yeah.
Like if dude's acting crazy, runs into a majority white town hall, fucks everything up. When I pull up and go, yo, give me my mans, obviously they're gonna be like, wait, I'm sorry, what? Because if a white dude wouldn't have pulled up to us like that, and they pulled up like, hey, we was gonna be like, and see, that's the major problem, because we don't feel like we have enough power, because we probably would just be like, all right, yo, we got to give him up. Where we should be like, nah, we're gonna judge and gauge what the fuck he deserves right now, whether you like it or not. That is like kind of the American paradigm. It's an issue. We don't have that sense of just like one community dictating all. It depends on the circumstances as well. So I mean, I on most levels, I feel where you're coming from. It's like, because I'm not just going to throw you to the wolves either, unless you just really, really, really out there, not trying to let nobody help you for no reason. Like, I don't get why you. Yeah, I feel you. I don't know why you would be like that, but it depends on the severity, of course. But otherwise, like, you're not just going to get thrown to the wolves. Like, if some black dude was messing with me real bad and the police showed up, I'd still be mad at him, but I'd be like, nah, we good, walk it off, in hopes I could go fuck him up myself later.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? But nonetheless, like, that's not always going to be the case. Because if dude's got the gun out and he firing everywhere, and I'm like, yo, bro, you got to stop, and he doesn't, and then he gets shot by a white cop, mind you, I still don't want him to get shot, but if he brought that on himself, what am I really going to be able to do in that situation?
No, I'm not talking about that, but I know that's
not directed at you.
Yeah, I get
but
that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, that is the American paradigm. There is the issue there. The strong point being that so many different people could find a way to work together. The downside being that sense of a specific, like a centric communal. And when I say centric, like I mean centered on like whether it be Eurocentric, Afrocentric, Asian centric, you know what I mean? That sense of we dictate purely only us, what happens to this person from our community, doesn't fully exist the way we would necessarily want it to in this country. I'm
just calling for the quote unquote wokest among us to take that into consideration.
No, I get you. And that
like
makes
put
sense.
that into their agenda as well. That's what I mean, because you're right.
I feel that.
Not everybody's thinking about that, but for those who are thinking about that, maybe that's what you should be thinking about.
Like, if the dude really is that ignorant, it is our job to throw him away. We're supposed to get him right. That's what rehabilitation is.
Yes, but exactly. Right.
No,
yeah,
I know. I wasn't.
Yeah.
That was. You was ready. He's so quick to guys. Y'all
no, because I'm so heated. I'm so heated with this topic. No, I'm so heated with it because this is one of those things that get me really heated. Is that like if you can't it's like when somebody say you can't accept me at my worst, it's real toxic. But at the same time,
that is real shit though.
But it's like at the same time, it's like we don't even have love for ourselves that way. And I have a lot of issues.
No, I feel you. Look at America in general, bro. People aren't willing to fuck with you when you're at your worst. Back then, one of my favorite phrases. Back then, they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all on me. I said, back then, they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all on me. Because you're supposed to be able to If you say you're my friend or if you say you care, if I'm here right now, but I'm not some lazy bum, I'm trying to do better. The fact that I'm trying to do better, you should still be able in some capacity to deal with me. Right. If not, you don't actually care. You're not really my friend. Right. You're a fair weather friend. You're only around when things are going good. Yeah, you haven't heard that term in a while. I'm just amazing. Anyway, but you're a fair weather friend.
Fair weather fans and stuff like that. It's the same shit. Yeah.
No, bro. It's like, things was, everything was bad. Hey, I can't today, man. My fault. Nah, dude, I ain't got it on me for you, ma. I'm sorry, bro. You needed me to be, I can't even do it. But then, $100,000 later, yeah, bro, I was always, always knew you was going to make it. You know what I'm saying? I was always there. I was telling people about you. That's a prevalent attitude in America because we are the country that cares more about the margin, the profit margin, than we care about the people.
No, I know.
But that's really all I can say to that because, I personally want to see a better change. In terms of the music industry, I obviously want to see a better change. The reason I'm able to use music in one sense, because music is one of those really communal things where people of different backgrounds come together. So it should be doing its best to promote us in the best of ways. Even if that means, understanding that you have to fuck with me when I'm not at my best as well. But that's all I feel. But we talked about this too long because you was mad.
No, I think I just trying to get to that point, basically, that,
No, you was like, I'm waiting on you. It's like, no, you were waiting on you. You needed to have that conversation.
Well, no.
But did nothing to bring it up.
No, for you, when I said that, I was trying to get us to the topic. You know what I mean? Like, it felt like we was dancing around what the issue was for far too long. Like, it was just like a long time.
I don't agree, but okay.
I saw this one Would You Rather where like there was like, would you rather fight they said like Ed Sheeran every 8 hours or like Vin Diesel or Vin Diesel like every morning for like 10 minutes. Like
wait, no, that has to be in reverse.
No.
It's not Vin Diesel every 8 hours?
No, it's Vin Diesel. No, because they pick somebody who's mad weak, but you got to fight him frequently.
No, so that's what I'm saying. You sure it's not Ed Sheeran every so often and Vin Diesel every 8 hours?
No, it was Ed Sheeran every 8 hours and then Vin Diesel every 10 for like 10 minutes every morning, like when you first wake up.
Oh, okay, for 10 minutes.
Yeah. It's
so
like
Ed Sheeran every 8 hours. I'd fuck with fighting Vin Diesel for 10 minutes every morning.
I know, that's the easy one. Like,
I don't think that would be too. Yeah,
like, what the fuck am I doing fighting Ed Sheeran every 8 hours?
I'm a bitch slap the fuck out him and then have to. Sharon, we just did this. Like, come on, bro. You want to keep getting this beat down like that?
You gotta make him say his name backwards, like Mr. Mixaplicit.
I can't believe you said that. Wow. No one even gets that reference. I'm surprised you even know him.
What?
He is a broken character. He is a broken, scary, terrifying character. People don't even understand how powerful that guy is.
I love Mr. Mixaplicit. That used to be my favorite Superman villain.
Because he's fucking broken and he actually gives Superman a challenge. Superman has to be like, what the
fuck is this shit?
Am I gonna do here? Dude, I forget what dimension but that thing is scary.
Some of the best like Superman villains have nothing to do with fighting Superman.
Like, hey, I could do this, that, and you have to deal with it. What you gonna do to stop me though, nigga? Bye.
Bye.
Gone,
no,
Mr. Mixaplicit.
I remember somebody said that there was like a story where, for people who don't know what Mr. Mixaplicit is, Mixaplicit.
We're not even saying his name as right as we should. I think it's Mr. Mixaplicit. I think, but
I've made peace saying it.
No, that's okay. For his name, it's all right. I'm not even
long
mad.
Time ago.
Yeah, that's fair. That's absolutely fair.
For people who don't know who Mr. Mixaplicit is, Mr. Mixaplicit is
now you're saying it different every single time.
Yeah, because I've been saying it too many times. Is a fucking Superman villain, right? And he's like from another dimension, and he's like this dude with like a little like. He got like a little tiny top hat, like it's too small.
Yeah, he is head. He's like an elf, honestly.
He's like a little elf,
character, really
like a little
small
sprite
character.
or some shit, right? And all this man does is annoy the piss out of Superman, and fuck shit up. That's all he does. Like,
and you might ask how he could do that. He has control literally over reality and can almost do anything he wants.
He's like the Great Gazoo from Flintstones or some shit. Like, you
know,
wow.
Like, yeah.
Exactly.
I haven't heard him in a while either.
Yeah, exactly. He just pops in and pops out whenever he wants to, right?
Surprise!
And so the only way that Superman can like, because he's like a magic character. Like the only way Superman can like defeat him is if he gets Mr. Mixaplicit to say his name backwards, and that's by like frustrating him so badly that he like says his name backwards. And so it's so funny because like I was watching this video and they was talking about him, like he just came up in the video, and like one of the aspects about him was that like he's lived for so long, like he lives for billions of years, and he says like every like 100,000 years he just like changes like what he does because like you know like yeah, because he can, and like he's bored, like, and so like basically for the first 100,000 years he was just based on like, you know, low magic and like mischief, and like that's what he was gonna do. But then like his 100,000 year cycle was over, and so now he's like, I'm just chaos and destruction now, I'm just gonna wreck shit. And like that's so fucking terrifying.
He's a terrifying fucking character, bro. He's like, Batman has one too, if you didn't know. Batman has another dude just like him, another sprite character from another dimension who just comes through. Yeah, exactly. But I think he's like nicer or whatever.
He's
but
like
Mr. Mixaplicit is a fucking terrifying demon.
Yeah, that's crazy.
From whatever fucking 8th dimension of hell that you could think of. But he's not like, I don't mean terrifying in terms he physically looks scary. I just mean what he's capable of doing. He doesn't have morals. He doesn't care about you or anything else on our planet. He just pulls up and is like...
Howie Mandel was Mr. Mixaplicit. The dude from Deal or No Deal. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, he was in the old like Lois and Clark show. Like the fucking... You ever see Lois and Clark?
Is it before Superman animated or after?
No, it's Lois and Clark is like Superman live action. It was a live action Superman show.
Oh, you mean the one they have out right now?
With Dean Cain back in the 90s.
No, I don't remember that. Actually.
Yeah, there was a Lois and Clark back in the 90s. They had Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher from fucking Desperate Housewives. And like, I just know too much about TV. Anyways, I used to watch that shit like all the time. It was a good show. It was a Superman show. Like, it was just like fucking watching Superman. It's crazy.
No, the last Superman show that I liked like that was Smallville.
It was like more dramatic, and it was kind of like Charmed. Like that's what it was kind of like.
Smallville was dramatic. Charmed.
No, that's what Lois and Clark was. It was like that type of TV. It was like TNT made it. Like it was like
now I could, because you remember TV back then had there was just a certain tone or image. I don't know what to call it, but it was that 90s. Like if I was watching this, I got excited for no reason. I was like, ooh, something's about to happen. What's happening? That 90s Xena Hercules TV.
Oh, I'm glad you say Xena. I love Xena.
Bro, I love Xena growing up. I mean, I liked Hercules too. Xena was better to me. I loved
Xena
Hercules.
Better than Hercules.
I loved Hercules, but Xena was like the better show. Now.
Like Kevin Sorbo, he's like all like super right wing.
Oh, like, really? That's sad,
he is. Like so many people
like
from that era.
Fuck it. I'm on this side now. Things seemed okay, but now they're not.
Xena's still hot though. Lucy Lawless is.
Lucy Lawless still hot. Yeah.
Lucy Lawless.
She was great in Spartacus too, but
oh my god, you watched Spartacus? Oh my gosh, Spartacus!
All of it. I watched all of it. That was a good series. A little bit over the top in terms of hey, we got sex and blood, but like otherwise, good series.
Yeah, they had like people just fucking in the streets for no reason.
Just like, all right, you didn't need to. Like, we got the scene, just like the fuck. All right, well, okay.
Dude just getting his right there in the street.
It was like fresh HBO too, so it was like, oh my god, everybody's naked.
That was on Stars.
What? No.
Stars made that show.
HBO. Stars made it. Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy though, right?
Yeah.
There was like a weird thing. Now we're talking about porn again. There was like a weird thing where like,
hey, you're talking about porn again.
Nah, you're here too. There's a weird thing where like HBO porn was like a way, and then like Cinemax porn was a way, but like Stars porn, like when they did it was like for some reason like the raunchiest. So like it was like weird. It was weird because you would never think that. So like I remember like back in the day, after a certain time, my mom put the child likes on the fucking TV. Like I was like 12 or 14, right? And so like she like put like the fucking code on the TV, and I would figure out the code every once in a while.
Wow, I haven't seen a code lock for a TV or heard someone mention that in eons.
Yeah, you're a grown man. So
yes, I am.
Yeah, you're in a different time in your life where people ain't just locking up the TV on you. So she would lock up like HBO and Cinemax, right? Because like at night, they
Spawn came out on HBO too. Yeah, Spawn was doing whatever fucking wanted.
Oh yeah,
Eon
that's true.
Flux.
Yeah, that's
those
right.
were the like adult cartoons as well.
But she didn't know was Stars. Stars was getting it popping. Every once in a while though. Not all like HBO
I
and
see.
Cinemax were doing it too much. They was doing like every night. You
It
know
was
what I
like,
mean?
yeah, we got
But
this.
Stars were like, if you was at the right like time, like it was, and it's such a. It would always be on at like a weird time. It'd be like it'd be like a 2:15 and 20 seconds. Like, you know, it'd be like some weird like 2:05. This is when this is coming on. You know what I mean? Or like
what?
or like, yeah, you'd be like, what? Why is this
What is
on
happening?
right
What is
now?
oh shit. Okay, but I mean,
Yeah.
looks both ways.
Yes.
I mean, I ain't gonna. I mean, if it's on, I ain't gonna stop watching shit.
Puts the
like,
TV on mute.
oh my god, yeah. Has the recall channel set? All right, let me set this back to Nickelodeon.
I was bad back in the day because like I had to put the TV on mute. Like I got caught once because like the TV was a little too loud because I had the sound up like not loud, but like it was like on 5. Like how do you hear that?
But you know when you hear like moans and sexual stuff on TV, it's always a little extra louder no matter what level you put it at. Right? So annoying.
And so then I was like, okay, well now I gotta watch this shit on mute. And then it was like, oh fuck, the light from the TV's coming underneath the door, right?
So she's like, what you doing up?
Yeah, exactly. So then it turned into, okay, well, I'll lock the door, which is turned into you can't have locked doors, which turned into
no more locked doors.
Yes, which turned into, okay, I won't lock the door, but I'm gonna take a couple t-shirts and I'm gonna stuff them underneath the door so no light come out.
That's smart though.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't think about stuffing towels under doors until I started smoking, but wow. No one ever thought about the light.
Yeah, I was real dedicated to not doing what I was supposed to be doing. Like it was like
I see that. Bravo. Yeah. Kudos to you at 8 years old or however old you was.
I tell you, I could work for the CIA. Like I'm like I've been trained up. Like I'm good. I could be a super spy.
Yeah, I see.
Like
this.
Gathering intel, like getting into places I shouldn't be. Like I'm good at that. Like I could do that.
We'll keep that in mind.
So what happened was she ended up locking my TV up, but not locking up the TV in the living room. Right? Yeah. So what I did was I started using that TV like at night. Like I'd sneak out the room and use that TV. Right? It was bigger anyways. But then what happened was I was like, oh, fuck, I can't really do this like that because she was recognizing the remote wasn't in the right place. You know what I mean? For the TV. And so like she would leave it on the table, but she was like, I know that like don't use the TV at night because I know you use it because like the remote's in a different place. But she didn't really catch me yet. So I was like, nah, I wasn't using TV. I don't know. Maybe it was Dad or something. And she's like, no, I think it was you because I know where he was. And I'm like, not really. Right? So I'm like, okay, well, you're telling me. So like now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the exact fucking microscopic position of the remote control, and I'm gonna put it right back right there.
Been there, done that, though.
It didn't matter if it was like under a bunch of books and shit. I remember which book was there, or I just like slightly placed it, put it right back. Man, talk about me back in the day.
Have we ever talked about the mischievous shit we did when we was young, and the mischievous shit people do when they're young for no reason?
No, you haven't.
No, right. Well,
I really be telling my stories more than you think.
Well, not the shit that I did when I was young, because I didn't really do like I got in trouble, but not for like doing a whole bunch of secret mischief stuff. Like I'll do stuff like that one time. I mean sometimes, but mostly it was just
me as like a good kid though, Mitch.
I was, but because I was so I had 2 brothers, and I was the better behaved of my brothers mostly. Due to that, I used the aura of, hey, I'm the good one to sometimes do shit that I could potentially either blame on my little brother or that I didn't think my parents would catch me doing.
That's fucked up.
Oh, yeah. I ain't goody 2 shoes. I never was.
I know that.
But I wanted you to think that I was.
That's messed up.
And I had the great smile of pretty face.
That's kind of like the worst. That's kind of worse than being bad. Like, it's like, because you're using good to be bad.
But so here's the thing, and mind you, I didn't really blame my little brother a lot. It was only in those cases where it was like, shit, this is about to be like a level 9 whooping if I don't put the heat on someone else a little bit. I was still getting my ass whooped regardless. I had the whole, if one's getting beat, the rest of y'all probably getting beat household. Like,
Right.
so it was just, all right, let me lessen this blow, because then it could at least be like a level 7. And, I'll be able to deal a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, Tim was doing this and... Oh, blank that out. But he was doing this and...
If you had kids, right, would you beat them?
I actually have been having that conversation with people. And this is what I tell people. I'm going to treat my kids accordingly. That's how I treat human beings now in general. If I don't have to beat my children, I'm not going to. Period.
Wait, what does that mean accordingly? Like, according
it means
to the
that
crime,
if I have a child that legit behaves, and when I give them a stern talking to, because I'm going to help my kids understand things way better than my parents were able to. Mm-hmm. I'm more emotionally intelligent than my parents. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Coming from a different background.
As you should be.
You should be.
You should be better than the last generation. Yeah.
My parents made it so I would be this emotional intelligence. So I have to give that to my children. So if I don't have to, I'm not going to. And I'm not a biblical person, but I do believe in the...
Spare the rod, spoil the child?
Yes. I'm not a biblical person, but some shit just makes sense. Some shit does just make sense, bro. Because it's look at we have white America as the largest example of this. Like, I'm sorry, but like
these kids gonna catch these hands
if they have to. Only, and it have to be a serious degree.
What is like
nothing else is working.
Like what?
That's what I mean. Like, because I'm gonna go the route of like, listen, if you do this, like, hey, you grounded, you have to stay in this particular space. I'll even put you out and allow you to be in another space. I'll have you scared straight going into jails and seeing what happens to you when you do not.
That's unnecessary.
I don't think so. If it is necessary, I'm doing it.
Scared straight. I think because a lot of kids.
I think it's good, to be honest. I know there's a little trauma involved.
No, because I watched that. Some of the kids I've seen it. I think I could still be a criminal. Like, it's just like,
no, Logan, we're not talking about your children. We're not talking about your children and how they're going to be, okay? We're talking about everybody else not coming from your weird gene pool that's going to have them walking into a prison and plotting on the prison yard. Like, I think I could run the school. I could run the yard for a little bit. Like, I mean, I'm only 14 now, but like, give it a few years, I'm pretty sure I could. Like, how much they get for cigarettes out here? All right, they sell, I can make these. We're not talking about your children. You deal with that on your own, okay? We're talking about normal children who are going to go into a scared straight program and be like, all right, I don't want to do this. Not the kid who goes in who's like, I could run the prison and plan a breakout, though.
But if your kid is normal, then they don't need to be in the scared straight
I mean,
program.
I say normal, but I don't mean normal as in like they're not misbehaving. Because if I have a kid
they respond to fear normally.
Yes, if they're like a kid who's not listening, I know that's funny, but if they're a kid who's not listening at all, which I don't imagine would happen to me because I'm not like that much of a pushover. I can get stern when I need to. But if I have a kid coming from me who's like, yeah, well, I could get stern when I need to too, Pops, and I get it from you, and I don't want to put hands on him because the option at that point is I got to put hands on him. Like, I have to now be the force in his life that reminds him acting a certain way gets you a certain type of consequence. So, and if I don't want to do that, if I don't want to put hands on him, you going to scared straight real quick. You want to see what prison's like, son? Because if you don't listen to me and you get to that point, I'm going to have to put you out of my house.
Do you think?
And once I put you out of my house, yeah, what's up?
Do you think the choice in parenting when it comes to discipline is between like physically damaging your kids versus emotionally damaging your kids?
Almost a little bit, yeah. Kind of, sort of. Unfortunately. Like, it's like, which trauma do I choose to give them?
Right.
Unfortunately. Isn't that sad how human beings work? But like, and we're our worst when we're like, we have that innocent part when we're kids, babies and all that. And it's like, yeah. But there's also the part that's like, I don't know any better about anything and don't give a fuck.
My thing is, I've had this conversation with Sarah and she's like, nobody, we shouldn't hit the kids.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm like,
yeah, I get that a little bit of that too. Sarah, she'll think about it once that first kid puts hands on her.
I feel like it's gonna be reversed though. I feel like if we had kids, that truly like she's gonna be one that's gonna be like tagging them. Like I really feel like I'm not gonna be that one. Like I feel like I'm gonna be there and I'll be like, oh, like I mean,
That
like,
was my mom and
like,
dad. Except my dad wasn't like, oh, my dad just walked in and was like, oh, you got your mom mad today? Best of luck, champ.
Glad it's not me.
I see you in an hour. That was literally the relationship between my mom and dad. Mind you, he had all the power per se, you know, being a man, like, you know, because he's a man after all.
Mhm.
But nonetheless, he's a married man and he actually respects women and doesn't try to mistreat and wants to do best for his woman. So, which meant like, oh, raising the kids, like, oh, you got mom pissed today? Well, we Haitian and yeah, that's your ass, kid. You're gonna have to learn that the hard way. I'll see you in an hour or two.
Right.
Make sure you come down to eat.
You get that eat.
Make sure you come down to eat. Because after all, you don't want to be crying and hungry. So you know, as you so like to say, Logan, pick a struggle. Because hey, you know what I mean? Like I say it in a very like poignant, like English American way, but nonetheless, he was like, "Hey man, you could either cry and be hungry, or you could just cry and then at least eat something. Because you know she's gonna feed you. She still loves you. She's gonna feed you, but pick one. Because you can't cry and then also be emaciated.
Yeah,
like you ain't gonna make it, kid. Sorry, you're only 7. You just ain't gonna make it. I've been there. I know.
I feel like I would play like more psychological games with my kids for better or worse.
See, that's the
because I want smart kids. You gotta like, you gotta make them think about shit. You know what I mean?
My man is trying to have. My man literally wants Maze Runner kids. He's
Maze
like,
Runner
right.
kids?
He's like, oh, you got it. Oh, you thought this was okay? All right. Kid wakes up in the basement at like 2 a.m. Like, how did I get here? Doors locked. Doors locked. Here's knocks on the door. He's like, what's going on?
There's an intercom.
I love you, Junior, but you're gonna have to learn today. So between now and when school starts, and mind you, when your mother asks why you weren't in school, it's your fault. And trust me, son, she's gonna believe me. So between now and then, you have to figure out how to get out of the basement. There's no food. Also, you've noticed that you're naked. May the odds be in your favor. I love you. Out. Kid's
And
panicking the entire time. Logan opens the door like 3 hours in. You ain't gonna make that mistake again, are you? Like, all right, good. Go get ready for school. All right, just go. I made you some breakfast. Go take a shower. Go brush your teeth.
That's terrifying. That is
Yeah,
a lot.
I know. Yeah, it is a lot, isn't it?
I just meant like, maybe a little emotional manipulation or some shit, but like you took it to another level. Like that was a lot. I was just gonna like, shame them a little bit,
Nah, that's not what it's gonna be. You're welcome. I got you. Don't worry.
Wow,
I know you. It's all right.
Wow.
I pray for your children.
There's a lot going on in your head.
Let's not get into that. That's an entirely different conversation we shouldn't discuss.
This dude locked up a little kid in the basement.
Logan's like, damn, bitch, that's
dark.
kind of cold even for me, bro. What's wrong with you? I thought you was the lighthearted one. Damn. Like, fuck. Like, who the fuck locks that kid in the basement at 2 a.m.? What's wrong with you?
This dude playing the whole saw trap for an 8-year-old.
Yeah, like, damn, bro. Like, fuck, bro. I wasn't trying to make a film, Mitch. I didn't say that. I just was trying to raise them right. Fuck.
I was just trying to, have them.
Make sure they behave.
I was just trying to make sure that, they make a decent wage when they grow up and need a therapist. That's all. Like, it's just like, what every parent wants.
You wanted to traumatize them for the generations past them. Shit,
yes.
My son's going to be working through that till his grandkids is born.
That is a good way to get children to start killing small animals and buying vans and shit. Like,
just like, yeah, my father never properly loved me. He's like, oh, I couldn't have been that bad. Have you ever woken up at 2 a.m. in a basement with your clothes off, wondering if you want to make it to school that morning, officer? All right, yeah, call in the psych unit. I'm gonna listen. We're gonna just leave. We're gonna go. Just you're cuffed, right? Yeah, all right. Yeah, we're gonna just go. You guys go deal with that. Fuck. Yeah, Frank, it wasn't that bad.
There's a lot of people whose like parents just like fucked them up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Some people shouldn't be parents. Some people are not unselfish enough to be parents because being a parent requires you to be extremely unselfish.
This is true. Yeah,
to an annoying degree. Like I'm talking about. I still would have told my parents to abort me. I can't believe y'all decided on this. But thanks and love y'all.
Light bulbed me a little bit because I wanted to ask you if you believed in fate, right? And so like. This is where I'm going with it, right? We're about to get out of here.
Yeah, because I was like, you just asked a question that could have us here for another hour, my nigga. And I ain't got the time.
We're about to get out of here. No, what I was going to what that made me think of when you just said that just then was that, like, do you think that there are bad parents in the world so that they can kind of make bad children in the world, that make bad people in the world, that just give us obstacles that we're supposed to overcome?
In that sense, no. I think that's just purely accidental. But in that, I do believe in fate. But in that way you're describing,
but if you believe
no.
in fate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would that not be fate? That, like, you have a villain to your story.
I need to give you the rundown of, well, the simplistic rundown of forces at work in the universe. So to me, yes, fate is a force at work in the universe. Luck, probability and all that, yes. Mm-hmm. Your will is also a force at play in the universe. Mm-hmm. And the issues that happen for humans usually come at a disagreement between your will and fate. And of course, just the circumstances that are around in our physical world, obviously. Mm-hmm. But usually, to me, the issues come around where it's like your will finds a situation that fate puts you in, and either you can deal with it or not.
But what if the person is the situation?
Which may sometimes be the case. Well, are you talking about the individual experiencing the issue, or they're dealing with the person that is the issue?
I think about sometimes how things come to be, is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm having an issue with a person, sometimes I think about, like, who their grandparents were. Like, how far does this issue go? My man didn't
say parents. My man said who their grandparents were. God damn.
Like, I want to know the true root of the seed. You know what I mean? Like, I like to get down to, like, the microscopic level. Like, well, I'll take it back to the Big Bang if I have to. Like, where did this evil come from? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
But then it also makes me think, why must it be in front of me? So that's why I'm kind of asking.
No, I understand why you asked the question, but no, that's legitimately how I feel on the concept of fate.
You don't think that, like, people, like, well, I don't know.
No, I do not think in a very, and you're describing it like a very, I don't think you realize, but like a very Lord of the Rings way. I do not think evil was created upon the world by fate for good to have something to triumph over at all. Good and evil are subjective in the first place. But, like, I don't think that at all. I think it's purely accidental.
Are they subjective, or are they just, like, sometimes subjective, sometimes, like,
Well, if we're talking about pure evil, pure good, we can start to get to a level of objectivity, but even that's hard. Because for you to be legitimate pure evil, I'm talking like cartoon villain.
Like Sauron?
Because I'm just evil. Like, I am just darkness and evil incarnate. People having joy is an energy that I cannot subsist upon, so I must create atrophy and destruction in order for me to really feel like I'm alive type shit. That's when we're talking like objective evil. That doesn't actually exist in the world.
Right.
Like, not in actuality. People usually have an ulterior motive or something. We're not talking Joker just being crazy. Even Joker being crazy isn't evil. Joker's just chaos. And Batman wants order. Joker's chaos. It's not even necessarily evil. So if you want to talk about, when you're talking like objective good and evil, it's like, all right, well, you go spend the time finding that in the world. I ain't got time for it right now. I'm already dealing with, just straight up, I'm already dealing with enough subjective evil to go further and be like, oh, this is the evil. Unless finding that objective evil gets rid of like subjective evil, which it still wouldn't do because these people aren't evil. My nigga's just hungry and has to steal today. Like,
that's true, yeah.
Bro, you know what I'm saying? So, like, even then, like, why am I going to go find objective evil that isn't going to help me deal with some, like, I'm good. I'm straight.
I just feel like sometimes things come from things. And, like, I feel like there's I guess what I'm saying is, like, a reason for things. And, like, what is the reason? In that capacity,
I agree with you. In terms of what the layout actually is far too complicated. That's why I looked at the clock and was like, I can't believe you asked this question now rather than asking it next week. Because this is a conversation that could go on hours.
Nah, the queen died and stuff. So you could talk about how, like, you hate that and shit. But, like,
I don't.
You don't hate it. I almost got you.
I don't hate the royal family. No, I don't.
No. But no.
But it's about, principle.
Yeah. We're not going to talk about that, though.
I'd be okay with talking about it next week because it is very, very interesting and a very complicated discussion. But it's like, when we talk about like objective versus subjective, like good and evil, you open an entire rabbit hole. Because you're talking about universal forces that predate the Earth itself. How the fuck am I supposed to talk about those with the limited capacity of knowledge? I have to go look at an Akashic record, bro. And do you even know what that means?
No, I don't know what the fuck that is.
Akashic records are supposed to be in terms of the planes of existence. So we're in a third dimension. There are dimensions above us. And then, of course, there's the astral realm. The Akashic records are the records of everything. Just living in the ethos that you as a person with lots of like practice and willpower and work could have access to. You can discover anything.
Technically fourth dimensional beings?
No.
I thought.
If you're wanting to be on the technicality of us having a spirit and therefore being able to operate on another plane, sure, but we're not.
I mean, not
because
because I thought that to be on two dimensions, you have to be a third dimensional thing. You know what I mean?
Well,
like
no,
to be
I know
like
what you're saying.
to be like if you're a one dimensional, if you're in a singular dimension, you have to be a two dimensional being enabled to perceive one dimension.
It's so like you can't make a line without the 2 points.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so like to be a third dimensional being, like to live in a third dimension, you have to be a fourth dimensional being. So like what we're really looking for is something that is a fifth dimensional being, because it can perceive the fourth dimension, whereas we cannot perceive the fourth dimension.
So technically on a technicality,
I'm so sorry for this, guys. Like, I'm so
on
sorry.
Technicality,
I totally forgot that I'm talking to an audience right now, and I just like went on a little like I don't even know what that was.
On a technicality and the fact of us being spiritual beings, yes, but in terms of how we perceive and navigate through the world, no.
Right.
We don't even acknowledge the fourth dimension.
Yeah, no.
Our people can't even get their emotions right. like I'm just, being real with you. Like, we can't even get our emotions right. Logical thinking is pretty simple for us because of the fact, like, it's straightforward, but like, we can't even deal with our emotions. Like, we're not, it's not there yet.
Anyway, let's end the show. We're all over the place and we're just talking about a bunch of shit. I think the fucking first conversation took a lot out of us. And we're just going. Anyways.
I thought it was a good combo.
No, it was a good conversation. It was just like a lot.
Yeah, it was. It definitely was.
Yeah.
Like, definitely it was just one topic. And we jumped into like 4 topics off one topic.
I was out. I'm trying my hardest right now. I was out drinking last night. I'm just like still sauced. Like I'm just like trying to do my best.
I'm fucking sauced, bro.
Yeah, like
fucking sauced.
Like,
hey,
guys,
you all right? No, I'm fucking sauced. Give me some space.
I am so sorry if the quality of this show is not up to par as what it usually be. Even that's even questionable. But yeah, is it not? Is it not? Am I not?
I like all the shows we do.
Huh?
I like all the shows we do. I think we get to the point every time. Well, let me not say every time. Let me not say every time. Yeah. There's a good like 5 to 10% where it's like, we was just kind of here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think we started off strong, and then that's how it kind of we were just here.
And there's shows like that too. I think it's just because of the way, because the first one took a lot of time. That's why I was like, fuck. I was wanting to say it for the last like 20 minutes as we were talking about it, or maybe even 30. I was like, all right, I do like this conversation, but we should move on.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
You was on about a lot of shit, and I was like, all right, well, I'd rather have this discussion. So it just be like that sometimes.
No, it was the same for me. Like I wanted to like keep having the conversation because like I was like definitely looking at the clock and I was like, I gotta wrap this up somewhere. And then I was like, every time we talked about something, I was like, yo, we have to talk about
that. Yeah. No, because it was actually it was very insightful to speak on certain things because people need to understand it on that level. Yeah. Although if Sarah had pulled up with a wrap it up box, that would have probably helped a lot.
Yeah. This is Sarah's fault. You're right. This is Sarah's fault. Yeah.
I didn't say that.
You did say that. You said if Sarah pulled up with a wrap-up box, it would have helped, and I don't know why she didn't. You're right. What would you like to leave? What would you like to leave the people with, Mitch?
Oh my God. Considering that we aren't fourth dimensional beings, I would ask you to get right with yourself. We had a very interesting discussion today in terms about how people deal with their image, but in truth on how they deal with themselves and the people outside themselves. So remember who you are, and don't be a fair weather friend. I can't stand that shit. I honestly know for a fact that maybe a year or so from now, once things are good, there are people I'm factually not going to be able to fully fuck with. They're not going to get close to me, and they may not know why, but internally they will, and I'm going to know why the entire time. No one likes a fair weather friend. You either down or you not. There ain't no in between. There ain't no conditional. You can't be conditionally down with somebody. You either there at their worst, there for them, or you're not really a friend.
Right.
Now, within reason, of course. Within reason. But nonetheless, you can't rock with them when they're trying to make some other stuff, when they're working hard to pull themselves up from where they are. What's the point of you being there when they're good? The fuck? You don't deserve that.
Right.
Fuck you.
That's not even to say that like you should like hang around something or somebody that's like just bringing you down and like
of course. Exactly.
destroying your life.
Of course,
and that wasn't the purpose of me bringing that up. But there is an element where people want to just like leave people to the wolves because they don't fit what they think is like the image that like we should all be portraying or whatever,
And everybody knows.
That's just
no,
gross.
I get you. Yeah, everybody knows we're humans. Everybody needs a helping hand sometimes.
Yeah. Which, if you think about it, like when I think about Malcolm X, like he's the same type of wearing suit type of dude that like, I think is like, positive black image, but that's like somebody who also gets
gets to the nitty gritty. He was in there.
No, he gets put in that category of like, like people talk about him versus Martin Luther King like he's Kodak Black, and that's not the case.
It's like, no,
you know what I mean?
Both of them were actually the same in that capacity.
Exactly, but because like people just rock with that shit, he gets that on them. When I don't feel like Malcolm X should have to carry that when like the people who should like love him should take care of his image, like beyond, like even if you're black and even if you don't agree with where he's coming from all the time, you should like protect his blackness at least, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Well, in truth, and I don't want to not like disacknowledge blackness, but in truth, it isn't even just about the blackness. You should protect that person's humanity.
Yeah, that too.
They're a human fucking being, dude. We're not perfect, and we all know we are not perfect. That's why it's so mind-boggling.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, close up.
Yeah, y'all need to lock up Ezra Miller, like
yo, that us, bro.
And y'all need to not let Ezra Miller listen to this podcast so he can come kick my ass. Like that is not what I want. Like, no,
tell him pull up.
No, what? You go fight Bears and Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
Would you rather fight Bears or Ezra Miller?
Ezra Miller. Okay, I'll say Ezra. I was gonna say Bears to be. I was like, them black Bears ain't shit, and I was like, all right, let me stop.
You know what? To be honest, Ezra Miller is probably a demon from the fourth dimension. I'm taking the Bears. Like I am not fighting Ezra Miller. Like this dude.
Yo, Logan, you literally think? Do you really think you would lose that fight
against Ezra Miller?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Wow.
And then he's gonna run off doing that stupid flash run that he does.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, that dude is a menace. He's got so much plot armor. Like, come on, that dude is a menace. That dude is not. He don't lose.
Gonna come out 3 months later with a formal apology. Yo, I've changed, guys. I'm so sorry. I went into therapy, and I'm just trying my best to be a better person.
He's killed like 17 people. Like,
yeah, it's like, but he's trying his best to change.
Yeah, no, I don't want Ezra Miller anywhere near me. Like, keep that demon energy away from me. Do not even come this way.
Good.
Yeah, I guess, should we shout out the Queen? How do we feel about that on the show?
Okay, so I can do this proper.
Thank you.
So
you do this, because I'm not going to do that.
Rest in peace to Queen Elizabeth. Disacknowledging the noble status and all that. She was still a human being. She was someone's mother, someone's grandmother, someone's daughter, someone's, wife, and all that. She passed. It's never nice to just celebrate someone's death just because you can. Nonetheless,
you can't say a but for that. For all of that.
Well, this isn't about her. That's why I can, because it's not about her. It's about the royal family. So rest in peace to the queen. And I'll talk about that next time. But we need to stop pretending like the royal family is just this beautiful, non-empowered family, because monarchs don't have any actual power these days, especially in Britain. But we need to stop pretending like there wasn't an entire bloody history that they are responsible for. The crown jewel in her head came from Asia. They brought it. They was like, yo, we want that back. You get my point? Yeah. There is a lot the royal family is still now responsible for, and we should be talking about that. Not just being all happy that another prince got married. They had another daughter. Yeah, it's nice. It's sweet. Could we talk about the damage they did historically, please, and fix it? Because then the royal family would really be royal.
No, they pretty much doing what royal people do. That's what like kings and queens and shit do. Like, I play Crusader Kings. You know what I mean?
Only kingdom I recognize is Wakanda.
That's not a real place.
I said what I said.
Okay. I think what I want to have a discussion with in future episodes is like whether or not everybody deserves a rest in peace. You know what I mean? Like,
I remember.
And I'm not saying, yeah, fuck him. I hope he rests unpeacefully.
Oh God, that's such bad energy. I am good. That is such horrible energy.
Yeah. No, you can't. That's what I mean. You can't be a menace on Earth and then people like rest in peace. Like, it's just like, I don't understand that energy. Like, I know people like, oh, that's real dark energy. Speak on somebody when they dead. But it's like when he was alive, he was just like creating so much destruction. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like,
let ye without sin cast the first stone.
No, that's not what I mean. No, it's not even.
I mean,
about
but
that.
it's kind of sounding-ish. Yeah, fortunately, that's why I always, because it's like we're like, oh, mind you, we talked about this before in terms of the levels. Like, he doesn't have to be Hitler for him to be that bad.
Yeah,
but it's like, man was a talk show host, talk some shit, had an opinion. People have opinions all the time.
You gotta stop downplaying shit. Like that's real. Like, at least
I'm not downplaying it. It's just he's dead, so I'm looking at his life. What you could do is you could frame the conversation in an honest way. You don't have to like downplay the impact of this man and the effect that he had on people. You don't have to say he's just a talk show host, like he's Ricky Lake or some shit. Like, you could talk. But that's kind of what he was.
No, he wasn't. We have a whole whole YouTube genre now because of people like him. And like, that's where, because he died, like, we have people like, what is his name, Andrew Tate and shit like that.
Oh yeah,
like,
I don't know what the fuck's up with that dude.
Okay, now that, like, he is literally like, he could be Kevin Samuel's son. Like, that's where he come from, right? And so this man lays out the blueprint where all you have to do is talk shit and about women and like talk shit about them in a way that like is so like literally just gross, disgusting, destructive. It's all dark energy bullshit. You know what I mean? So we don't have to be like, oh, all this man did was have a little YouTube show and then he died. That's not what he did. His legacy is like, because like in the last conversation you just talked about the impact of the royal family and like their negative impact. And like, I'm not putting Kevin Samuels at the level of like a fucking international government, but what I am doing is saying that like we can have perspective about peoples and things, and we don't have to downplay their like horribleness. We don't have to like say that like,
and I'm not saying that. It's just that when a person passes and they die, like this is me, I'm speaking personally. Like, I let go. Once R. Kelly dies, I'm having an R. Kelly concert.
What?
Once R. Kelly dies, I'm having an R. Kelly concert.
Why would you have an R. Kelly concert?
Not an R. Kelly concert. I mean, I'm just going to listen to it because I love that fucking music.
How does that help the victims?
He's dead.
Okay, why don't you do that with a room full of his victims? Why don't you do that?
Listen, I'm not saying I'm not a tactful person. I wouldn't do that. But, yeah, but I'm going to listen to music from... Honestly, but to be fair, I
don't think death really makes it better. I don't think death
it's
like
not
really
about it making it better.
Makes the content
another
more
biblical
palatable.
Another biblical verse. Another biblical, and it's not about it being more palatable. This is me. Another biblical verse. The wages of sin are death. This person's gone. They're dead. Now, you talked about the victims. That's fair.
What?
Mind
That's
you,
not
I
what
think
that means. That's not what that verse means. You just can't. Okay, here's another verse. The devil also knows much about the Bible, just as much about the Bible as fucking God does. So that is also
which verse is that?
What verse is the thing you just said?
I believe it's in Matthew, but where's yours?
You said literally it does say in the Bible that the enemy knows just as much scripture.
Oh, okay.
as,
Yeah, but you said it in a very unbiblical. I was like, what the fuck?
I know the way
Oh
I
my
said
God.
it. It's the new international version.
If you don't, wow. Yo, all the Christians out there, come get him.
It's the
Because
NIV.
I can't care enough. I can't care enough. But yo, come get him. Come get him. You seen what he did. You heard the sacrilege.
But no, that is the truth. Like you can use Bible verses to like your malcontent into like a negative spin. You can spin it. That's the whole reason for that verse. It's telling you that you can spin shit the way you want to spin it, no matter if it even comes from the Bible. So like you just saying like a bunch of Bible isms and shit don't really
I'm not
jack
saying
shit
because
to me.
it's Bibleism. I'm saying because that verse was explained to me, and it's basically it's
the
not like
wages
saying
of sin is death does
it's
not mean
like,
that.
It's not like saying you're excused for everything. It's just that is like in your life as the things you're dealing. But it's not talking about, and it isn't talking about living a natural life either. Just passing like peacefully in your sleep. You're going to hell or whatever. However things are decided.
No, it means that sin is like the cause of death. Like from the beginning, Adam and Eve, the reason why they weren't supposed to like eat from the tree is because it brings death. Like the rejection of like God's law created death. That's what that means. It does not mean that. It does not mean that like when you die, like that's where your sins go. Like it does not mean that is the totality. Like that does not mean that at all. Like I don't even know where you got that from or what.
It's not like that. It's not that kind of death. This isn't like natural death. This is like
because it's the wages of sin. It's not the other way around. It's not the wages of death.
Dead.
No, it's like the wages of death.
I'm not gonna get into it now, but it's basically it's not like oh you got the free pass now. It's just it's circumstantial as well. I don't want to get into it now. I don't want to get into it now.
Kevin Samuels is a piece of shit. Is still like he's still on YouTube. Shit. Like that's what I'm saying. Huh?
He's dead. No, he's not. He's dead.
What do you mean he's not still on YouTube? You can go pick up his fucking videos right now.
His image is on YouTube. His likeness. Yes, you're right.
His likeness, his image. What are you talking about? Like that's him.
Yes.
Anyways.
His videos. Yes.
Yes, his videos. Yes, his videos are still on YouTube. It's still content that can be consumed. It's still content that they put on YouTube.
You can't take it down when they're dead. You can't like petition to take something down because now they're like gone.
I think it's actually harder when the person is dead.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a life.
Yeah. So it's like that's his legacy now. And like that, and that's the legacy you also like downplay. Which you know what? You say you be for the women's, but you know
he shit on men too. Like damn.
In a toxic masculinity sense, like not in like a fucking.
It's a toxic masculinity sense, regardless.
Yes, but I'm saying like it comes from that. It comes from like promoting like negative masculinity and patriarchy. Like it didn't come from the sense of, like, equality.
If you've seen videos, he would actually shit on men who were being shitty. It was actually funny, and though it was like Uno reverse. He would actually still also shit on men who thought they deserved more, who were toxic men who thought they deserved more from women with nothing to offer. He would do that too.
Through his definition of what is to offer, though. Which all came from that same framing. You know what I mean? So
okay, no, I feel you.
Yeah, man, you felt me from the beginning. You just motherfucker. Anyways,
it's okay. Work through what you got to work through.
Ain't nothing to work through. The man's a piece of shit. Anyways, I don't even know what I was saying now. You're
supposed to be saying goodbye.
Yeah, we were wrapping the show up, but you got to come with this bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, put it all on me, man. All right, work through what you got.
You know what? Maybe next week we'll talk about Andrew Tate and shit because I really don't want to talk about him. But like he's the new Kevin Samuels.
I haven't looked into
him
at all.
To be honest, I really don't give a fuck about these fuckheads. Like all the mini Kevin Samuels that have popped up over like last couple of months since he died. Like I don't I feel like we're making the issue really that much worse than it is, to be honest.
Let's not talk about them.
Yeah, by talking about them and like by putting them on shows and being like, hey, my 12-year-old watched this shit and this is the problem. Like, it's like, why the fuck is your 12-year-old just watching that?
Yeah, why aren't you parenting?
That's a discussion I'd rather have. That's an issue I have with like fucking parents and shit. It's like,
hey, hey, why are you putting this on the? No, why aren't you
watching your children?
Children, I don't understand. Yeah. Where are they? Are they not with you?
Yeah.
If they're not with you, they should be in school. If they're not in school and they're under the age of like 17, they're supposed to be with you.
Yeah.
Why are you telling us how much of this is your fault? I don't understand. Is that you want to incriminate yourself?
Why are you self-reporting? Why are you self-reporting?
I don't get. All right, well,
you self-snitching?
Yo, CPA. I guess this is what they want. Like, go get them.
Rap snitches telling all their business. Sit in the courtroom, be the own star witness. Do you see the perpetrator? Yeah, I'm right here.
Logan, end the show, please.
I can't sing MF Doom on the podcast. Anyways, if you like the show, please share the show. If you got anything out of it, put it in the comments, like, subscribe. You know where to find us. Mitch, say bye to the people.
Goodbye. Hallelujah.
This is episode 66 of the Milk and Toast podcast. I've done it again. I've been your host, Logan, and we're out. Bye.